GNCC returns to RacerTV.com here today, coming off a historic weekend of GNCC racing where we saw Grant Davis out of the XC2 class take the overall win. And of course, it was Johnny Gerard finishing first in the XC1 class and maintaining, adding to, as a matter of fact, that points lead as far as the championship is concerned. Stu Baylor, he has been sensational here in the past. What has he got in store for these guys? And we would be remiss not to bring up the red-hot start by Liam Draper, stepping up to the XC1 just a couple of weeks ago. All that and more starts right here, right now on RacerTV.com.
Are you ready to go GNCC Racing?
Good afternoon and welcome to round number 11 of the 2024 Progressive Grand National Cross Country Racing Series presented by Specialized, your AMA National Championship. We are here for the Rocky Mountain ATV MC Mountaineer GNCC. Our salute to first responders. Johnny out here on location all week. A tribute, obviously, to September 11, 2001. Just over 20 years ago, the world was changed, to be quite honest. And it was because of the men and women in our law enforcement, firefighters, EMTs, nurses, our military, obviously, that were there on the front lines. And we take this week or this race to kind of honor those first responders. We've been giving out challenge coins on the start. So a very, very special week of racing.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, GNCC and Racer Production always recognizing the first responders and going above and beyond along with many of the presenting sponsors to recognize them and show the appreciation that we all as a group and a community have for the sacrifices that they've made. But again, a little more so even this weekend with the significance of it being so close to 9/11 and also the facility that we're at having a lot of significance for that as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So if you're at home watching on Racer TV, you're a first responder in any capacity or former retired military service, we thank you for your service. We'll jump into the racing. We flash back a couple of weeks ago, Johnny. Absolutely a historic race. I mean, when it was all said and done, as we look at the Specialized race recap, we welcomed Liam Draper to the XC1 Pro class, and boy, did he come out with a bang early, grabbing the whole shot, hanging on to that early lead for a pretty good distance.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he really jumped right into it at full speed, looked comfortable right from the rip, grabbing that whole shot, battling with Johnny Gerard early. And I think the one thing looking back at this, I mean, how much mixing it up there was early. We can see, I mean, guys inside, outside, guys on the charge. There we see Stu Baylor making a little jump pass there on the inside. And look at this, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Man.
And this wasn't the first lap.
Yeah.
This was, you know, further into the race. And I mean, these guys, the track just provided us with excellent racing. Here we see that was eventually the pass for the lead there. Liam kind of saying later he checked up and let Johnny by. He led for 2 laps, and then things started to really get interesting.
Yeah, they did. You got a shot of Stu Baylor there into the pits, getting a little splash of fuel. We thought, man, that could be very, very bad. It's actually been a situation like that before for Stu. Turned out to be kind of a non-factor, thankfully for him. But boy, Johnny Gerard took the reins of this race and charged. And then lurking there back in the shadows in the XC2 was Grant Davis, who, we had that one right there. Just a little slide out.
Yeah, Jordan Ashburn going down there, getting up so quickly, staying ahead of Craig DeLong, and that was your second and third place riders at the time. Liam Draper shuffled back.
Yeah.
And then it was a familiar face that we had not seen in a while, suddenly making a run, getting right to the rear wheel of the 969 of Johnny Gerard, and it was the 530 of Ben Kelly. Welcome back, Big Ben. Great to have him back out there. And Johnny just kind of picks the pace up. Ben has a crash, and Johnny stretches it out, seemingly looking like, okay, he's just going to kind of march it to the finish line. They're in the number 2 spot. Jordan Ashburn, always consistent, always up there. And then Johnny Gerard coming in, fighting, pushing. Liam Draper getting close to him there physically towards the end. But Johnny thinking he has the win in hand. Then this man right here, Grant Davis, young man out of the XC2 class, pushing, sprinting 2 seconds. There's the tail of it at the end. He grabs the win. At this point, he still doesn't even know. They're high-fiving. They're telling him 2. He's saying, oh, I got second. No, you won by 2 seconds, and then the celebration began.
Yeah, absolutely. Just a sensational day for Grant Davis. He's been doing it all year up there in the mix, but boy, the overall win, just impressive. Gerard taking second in the OA, Draper third, Ashburn fourth, and Ben Kelly, big welcome back to him, rounding out that top 5. Stu, 6th place, got Angus Reardon, 7th, Rui, and then Cody and Lyndon Snodgrass rounding out the top 10 on the day. So Grant Davis making a little bit of history. Look at this points gap. Johnny Gerard, it's not in the books yet, but Gerard, similar to what we see in the Bryson Neal side, actually a little more extensive for Gerard at this point. This is his championship at this point. Stu's got to win and just kind of not worry about what's happening behind him.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, with looking at it there on screen, you're looking at 53 points.
Yes.
With 53 points, essentially 3 rounds remaining, there's 90 points on the board. Nothing's out of the question.
Sure,
We've seen
absolutely
in the past, but like you said, Stu Baylor needs to go out and win. But how about Grant Davis sitting there in the third place spot in the overall? Just after that overall win, he's getting just closer and closer to the top of the boards. But it really still looks to be a 2-rider race for this championship with 3 rounds of racing remaining.
So Gerard in a good spot heading into the Mountaineer here this weekend. Stu Baylor historically has been done very, very well here on this property. So going to be an interesting race day. Certainly plenty of storylines coming into this one, this Summit Bechtel Reserve. Johnny, this place has everything. This is one, I think, if you've never been here, you've got to circle it on the 2025 schedule and get out here and visit. It has so much going on. Obviously, there you go, home of the National Scouting Jamboree. 2010, they founded this place, just over 11,000 acres. The Boy Scouts of America National High Adventure Base. This place has everything. Cycling. They've got a little shooting there. You've got the skate park. This place is stellar, Johnny.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's so much here. And if you're watching from home and you've not been to this event, like you said, circle it on the calendar, because obviously this place is not open to the public. Yep. You have to be a Boy Scout or a part of that organization normally to come out and enjoy it. GNCC having one of the great opportunities to bring people out here, show them what this facility is, and it really truly is awe-inspiring.
That's it. Taking a look at that track map there, this is a good old-fashioned GNCC. This is a woods race at its finest. And with that, we'll talk a little bit more about that and throw it to Jared Bolton for a Yamaha Racing track description.
Well, thanks, guys. Welcome back to the Mountaineer, and boy, this is a good one. We've finally been able to flip the direction of this track. We've only ever done that one time. That was the second year we were here, and due to the lay of the land here, we haven't been able to do that since then. We've been inundated with rain ever since then. It seems like every year we get hit with some rain at some point. Haven't been able to flip this track around. Well, guess what? This year we got quite the opposite. It's really dry and dusty this weekend. The track's running the opposite direction. What's that mean? Well, some of those big downhills are now big uphills. You'll see a couple of really, really steep hill climbs out there in the woods. And of course, those rock gardens, well, now they're going to be running the other direction. The stuff that's been flipped over, knocked over, ran down pretty nice and neat, well, now it's going to be sticking up and jagged. Going to make those rock gardens a little more difficult, make this course even more difficult than it usually is. Now, when you come here, everybody talks about those rocks. But, of course, there is the elevation change like I mentioned earlier. This course is a technical one. It's a tough one, but it's got some fast stuff here and there to break it up. Overall, beautiful race course, beautiful weekend of racing. Minus a little bit of dust, but hey, after the year we had this year and last year, a little bit the year before that, we'll take some dust here and there. That's this weekend's track description. Back to you guys.
So there you go. There's the track description from our man, Jared Bolton. Thanks for that. Also, thanks to our producer, Adam Gordon, for the first-person view there with the GoPro, showing that this is a real woods track.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, there's not a lot of fields, a lot of trees, so it's going to be an interesting day of racing. We're going to let Mikey Waynes head down to the starting line to do our 10-second calls, get this race off and rolling. We're going to be back with all the racing action live here on Racer TV. Make sure you're tuned in.
You know, when I take the bike out like this, all my stresses just melt away.
I hear that. This bad boy can fix anything.
Yep, tough day at work. Nice cruiser sorts you right out.
When I'm riding, I'm not even thinking about my painful cavity.
Oh, you shouldn't ignore that.
And every time I get stressed about having to pay my bills, I just hop on the bike, man.
Oh, come on, man. You got to pay your bills.
You don't have to worry about anything when you're protected by America's #1 motorcycle insurer.
Well, you definitely do. Those things aren't related, so.
Oh, that is a vibrating pain.
Every generation believes they've invented the best way. With age comes wisdom.
How's it going?
We've come to realize that every piece of knowledge is learned, passed down from those generous and patient enough to teach.
It's bogging off the bottom. Let's take a look.
Legacy. It's not about leaving something behind to be remembered by. It's realizing that the future lies within the next generation.
Let's call it a night.
All right.
The nature of true progress is humbly building something bigger than yourself. Rocky Mountain ATV MC. This is our legacy.
Progressive GNCC Racing is brought to you by Progressive. Progressive could save you hundreds of dollars on your automobile and motorcycle insurance. Specialized E-Turbo bicycles. It's you, only faster. RockyMountainATVMC.com. Get ready.
Jumping in and swimming with the Sharks right now is Liam Draper, and he's leading the pack as Johnny Gerard, Lynn Snodgrass, and the rest of the field. Look at that. That is a full XC1
Is this a NASCAR race?
Well, I'm telling you who's going right now is Johnny Gerard. I don't know if he's found an extra gear or what, but look at the gap. That was second, passing him going the opposite way.
Not only is Grant Davis battling for the XC2 championship, he's sitting third right now in the overall points for the year. So
your XC2 leader on screen, and it is Grant Davis, Playboy, as they're calling him.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
I did know that.
He's got a new nickname, and he's out there and just looking smooth. Liam Draper and Johnny Gerard and Jordan Ashburn also setting a pace quick enough that we think they're starting to outrun Grant Davis.
And Johnny Gerard will take your checkered flag here at the Buckwheat 100.
And it's Grant Davis, your overall winner by 2 seconds. He edges out Johnny Gerard for the overall win for the second time ever and the second time in 2024. Grant Davis takes the overall win.
Mountaineer, man, that's my race. That's the race that aside from mechanical failures, nobody has beat me on that mountain. I love looking forward to it because I know I ride it well. Actually not one of the most enjoyable tracks on the circuit for me, but some of those days, like you look forward to knowing that you ride those conditions well. I like the Mountaineer. Kind of like snowshoe. There's some technical sections, but it's more of a high-speed, fast, I would say like cobblestone trail kind of.
I think the track is good for racing and has a lot of different sections. You kind of get in little coal banks, and you get in the rocks, and then some road mix and some hardwood, a little bit of everything.
Put me in the ground and the rest of my soul. As long as I'm around, I'll be unstoppable.
Couple zigzags back and forth over the 8. You guys will go across the gravel road. That stuff over there is real good. I was just over there. You'll zigzag back and forth, some pretty tight stuff. When you guys get up there that little off camber, right when you go over right before the 9, be careful that first lap. The morning did it. They pretty much chewed that whole hillside away. So if you go up there, I put 2 dangers. Kind of stay further up the hill, and you'll just drift right across it. Or you can go wide if you want to. It'd be a little slower, but get through that, over to the 9, back and forth through the rocks. It'll bring you back out over into the Monster Mile again, past the 10-mile mark there. A little bit of field, back up to 11, and then you guys will tie back in here. So you guys are right at almost 12.5 miles. Should be good, guys. Just be careful that first lap when you head into these bike-only pieces.
Safety first. GNCC racing, like all motorsports, can be dangerous. Racers, now that you have had an opportunity to inspect the race course, have heard the race procedures and a description of the course, if you feel that either you or your machine is not prepared, then now is the time for you to withdraw for a complete refund of your entry fee, no questions asked. It is your responsibility to operate your machine in a safe manner, maintaining control at all times. Extreme caution is required when approaching areas with high concentrations of fans. Do not take unnecessary risks that endanger the safety of fans. You will be penalized for reckless racing. Race fans, due to the nature of GNCC racing, there is no fence barrier around the race course. It is your responsibility to keep yourself and your children a safe distance from the race course. Never turn your back on oncoming racers and use extreme caution when crossing the race course. And remember, stay off the track. For the safety of everyone, unauthorized drones are prohibited and will be confiscated. Finally, unauthorized pit vehicles are prohibited and may be confiscated. Absolutely no pit vehicles permitted in the woods or on the racetrack. Crew members are prohibited from using pit vehicles during the race. Thank you for your cooperation. Have fun and race safe.
Well, thank you for that once again. Voice of Rodney Tomlin, and we'd also like to welcome everybody watching at home on RacerTV.com. As we mentioned in the pre-show of the broadcast, this is our salute to first responders. So if I could have everybody's undivided attention out there, before we get into our prayer and our national anthem, if you are a first responder, we want to call you forward up here to right about where in front of the XC1 starting line is. We have, on behalf of GNCC and Racer Productions, are going to present you with a challenge coin. And I know you might be thinking, I got to stay with my rider, we're going racing. I promise you we will give you time to get back to your motorcycle or get back to your rider. So if you are a first responder, firefighters, EMTs, our nurses, doctors, currently serving in the military, retired military service, come on up here to the XC1 starting line to be presented As a matter of fact, if you're a spectator out there right now, come on over here. If you are a first responder, up here to the front line here, and we will present you with a challenge coin here this afternoon. And why do we do this? Well, if you've been around for a while, more than 20 years ago, September 11th, 2001, we had an attack on the Twin Towers and the Pentagon and the plane that went down as well. And it changed the trajectory of our country as well as, quite frankly, the rest of the world. And it was on that day that men and women, like our first responders here on the XC1 line, that responded. They ran into the building. They saved lives. Some sacrificed their own lives in that event and have been doing so ever since. So this is our small token of saying thank you, essentially, for your service. We could not come out and do things like we love, racing our dirt bikes at a GNCC, without the hard work of the men and women who serve as our first responders. And if you'd like, we'd like to ask you to remain standing there. You're going to lead us by example through our prayer and our national anthem. And again, folks, I promise I'll give you time to get back to your riders as well. So if you wouldn't mind staying right there. And at this time, as would be appropriate, we are going to now turn our microphone over to Mr. Ricky Towery to lead us in a word of prayer.
Thank you, Mikey. Hey, let's go to the Lord this afternoon. Let's have a word of prayer together. Heavenly Father, we do thank you once again for bringing us all together safely to such a beautiful place as we look around us. Lord, we just ask you to be with these riders. You would keep them safe this afternoon. Let them go out there and have a good time together. Once again, thank you for the scouts for letting us use this property to have some fun on. Continue to be with them every day and all the volunteers. Our military men and women, Lord, they right now, they in places we don't even know about, but they take care of us and they keep us safe. That's why we're able to come out here and have some fun together. Be with our leaders at the high level and the local level. Make the right decisions for us each and every day. And our local policemen, firemen, and paramedics in all our communities. Lord, this week we've been thinking about 9/11. Sometimes it just seems like it was yesterday, but it's been over 20 years ago. And the first responders ran in there, brought people out. Some of them didn't need to come back out. But, Lord, they was in there trying and working hard. And today, they even still help us each and every day. Our first responders are something that you just can't take for granted. They got something in their heart that they look after us every day. Continue to be with them and watch over us every day. Lord, we already had so much fun this weekend. We just ask that you would let us have a few more hours this afternoon. And then when we head down the road home, take us all home safely. So one day we will get back together again and we will have some more fun. In Christ's name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you for that, Ricky. And now at this time, if our XC2 riders, if you're able to hop off of your machines and step up there to that XC1 line alongside our first responders. And as Ricky Towery will now make his way over to turn number 1, if you have not already, folks, please stand at attention, remove your hats, and cross your hearts as we honor the greatest nation in the world with the playing of our national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Thank you to our first responders. Let the engines rev and make a little noise for our first responders out there, folks. Hey, special weekend, as mentioned, our salute to first responders. In addition to that, we've got some folks out here from our sister series in Japan representing the GNCC, and I wanted to get a shout out in there. We have got Kita Watanabe representing the JNCC today out of the FMF XC3 class aboard that Ampro Yamaha. So shout out to Ampro Yamaha helping us out, and a big hello and welcome to our riders of the JNCC here with us this morning. Our first rider took first place in the senior 45 plus. Now, without further ado, we want to meet our starting row for the XC1 Pro class. And we're good. Okay. Jeremy Holbert is ready. So without further ado, and I'll say it again, what the heck does ado mean? I got to Google that. Ladies and gentlemen, the 969 out of North Carolina aboard the FMF Factory Racing KTM. Say hello to Johnny Gerard. Rolling to the line next, the 514 out of Hodges, South Carolina, aboard the Rocky Mountain ATV MC Red Bear Racing Kawasaki, Stu Baylor. Rolling to the line next, the number 3 out of Livingston, Tennessee, aboard the Coastal Racing Factory Gas, Jordan Ashburn. Rolling to the line next, your defending champion from 2023, the number 1 out of Waynesburg, Pennsylvania, aboard the Rockstar Energy Factory Racing Husqvarna, Craig DeLong. Up next, the 282 out of North Carolina, aboard the Phoenix Racing Honda, Mike Wachowski. Rolling to the line next, the 347 out of Jefferson, Georgia, on the Active Air, Max Motorsports, and FXR backed Husqvarna, Evan Smith. Rolling to the line next, the number 7 out of Australia on a JS Racing Beta ride, Josh Strang. And rolling to the line next, the 178 out of Australia aboard the Babbitt's Online Monster Energy Team Green Kawasaki, Lyndon Snodgrass. Up next, the 198 making his debut just a couple of weeks ago out of New Zealand on the Ampro Yamaha, Liam Draper. Up next, the number 14 rider out of Chile on the Phoenix Racing Honda, Rui Barbosa. Up next, the 739 out of Morganton, North Carolina, aboard the Rockstar Energy Factory Racing Husqvarna, Trevor Bollinger. Up next, the 212 out of Duval, Washington, on the Ampro Yamaha. He's rough, he's rowdy, Ricky Russell. And last but certainly not least, the 530 out of Connecticut, aboard the FMF Factory Racing KTM, Ben Kelly. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is your starting row here for the XC1 Pro class at the Rocky Mountain ATV MC Mountaineer GNCC. Just a safety reminder, folks, we can have absolutely no spectators in between turn number 1 and turn number 2 outside of our authorized staff and our credentialed media. Now DJ Judd jumps into the Yamaha R-Max 1000, throws on a seatbelt, throws on a sparkle helmet, and this is where we like to say, DJ Judd, remove the meat. As DJ Judd makes his way, I think, over through turn number 1. Yes, sir. So keep your eyes and ears peeled. Judd making his way over by him. Make some space for the Monster Energy Activation Transport. And we will get that thing parked. And then all eyes will go down into turn number 1 where the maestro himself, Ricky Towery, will take the reins of this race. And we go as Ricky goes, as we get a thumbs up from Jeremy Hobart and scoring in the track crew. And we've got a safe and ready racetrack. A whole shot award up for grabs courtesy of the Steel City Medical Center for the XC1 as Ricky Towery will now step out onto the track, steps forward, and he lets our riders know 1 minute until we're ready to go. Mountaineer GNCC Racing. As Ricky steps back now, he will take a step out, another big deep breath. Remember your breath, kids. There you go. There it is. And the blue flag waves, blue flag waves. Shut them down, shut them down, shut them down. As we are just about ready to roll now. And I got to ask you, West Virginia, are you ready to go GNCC Racing? Oh, that's pretty good, but it is a special week, ladies and gentlemen. This is our salute to first responders, so let's get loud, let's get proud, and I'm going to ask you one more time. Are you ready to go GNCC Racing? 10 seconds for row number 1, the XC1 Pro. Bang, and we're off. Steel City Medical Center whole shot award up for grabs. A late start by Lyndon Snodgrass as they jockey for position. It's going to be the number 3 of Jordan Ashburn on the Coastal Racing Factory gas, but boy, not by much. Looks like Mike Wachowski might have that early lead unless I missed him as they duck out of sight. XC2 250 Pro Class coming up next. Steel City Medical Center whole shot award up for grabs as Ricky now makes his way back out onto the track. Angus Reardon, Cody Barnes, Zachary Davidson, Toby Cleveland, Brody Johnson, Jesse Ansley, Sawyer Karatura, blue flag waves. As we are just about ready now, Jason Liscombe ready to roll in 10 seconds. Jonathan Johnson and Grant Davis. Bang, and they're off. 922 out in front, right up the gut. Checks up just a little bit. Power back to the ground. A check up from the neck cup. Doesn't matter. 922. Grant Davis gonna grab that Steel City Medical Center whole shot award as we reset the deck now for the FMF XC3 125 Pro-Am class. 10 seconds. Low Jack Cycle Sales whole shot award up for grabs. Tyler Shields, James Jern III, Dakota DeVore, Kita Watanabe, Jack Walker, Joe Shriver, and Dustin Simpson. Oh, he goes down in the first turn, and it's going to be the 701. How about it getting it done for JNCC? That's Kita Watanabe on that M-Pro Yamaha machine, grabbing that whole shot and early lead as we reset open A. 10 seconds. Dylan T. De La Cruz, Kenton Coleman, Samuel Evans, Joe Cunningham, Christian Scott, Trevor Holen, Cole Whitmer, Colton Coots, and Hunter Smith. Little bottled up there in the first turn. 518. That's going to be Cole Whitmer out of Amity, Pennsylvania, on the Moose Racing and Maxis backed ride. Out in front, 250A. Coming up next, Ryan Piper, Thor Powell, Jason Tino, T-Rex, Nick DeFeo, Gavin Simon, 10 seconds. Hunter Bush, Collier Martinez, Will Stephen Piper, Mike DeLosa, Nathan Cancamo, Austin Alcorn, and Trevor Maley. Everybody off of the line. Riders, here we go. T-Rex with a good drive. And the 246 of Nick DeFeo out of South Carolina on that Babbitt's Kawasaki. Gonna grab the whole shot and early lead right there. 158. 10 seconds. Wade Tucker, Tucker Kinry, Keaton Noltcamper, Rayleigh Messer, Matthew Sims, Michael Meyer, Brandon Hashman, and Kiefer Galliano. The number 99, I think that old Kiefer Galliano goes down. And grabbing a whole shot's going to be the 446 of Matthew Sims out of Greencastle, Indiana, as Kiefer Galliano gathers himself, gets back up and gets in the fight. Got to have a great start here today. Going to be a dusty one. Here we go. 10 seconds. Four-stroke A-Lights. Colton Shields, Van Adams, Rivers Morris, Chase Landers, Ty Ely, Brady Beerbaum, Lane Smith, Joshua Connor, Ryan Amancio, Cole Thorne, Isaiah Brown, Jiggs, Fustini, and Olin Daniels. Tied up the inside, the 176 on the machine. That's the 065 on the helmet. That is Van Adams out of Morgantown, Indiana, on that Westfield Power Sports and Fly Racing backdride. Grabbing that whole shot and early lead. Here we go, Vet A, 30 plus, 10 seconds. Robbie Norwood, Scott Hopper, Danny Hoff, Richie Cardio, Zach Tulsi, Daniel Sims, Jesse Kidlow, and Gregory Funk. Robbie Norwood up that inside line. Oh, one rider gets spun around right there. And the number 93 of Robbie Norwood on that Brewer Cycles and Total Control Inc. back ride. Gonna grab the whole shot and early lead right there. Senior A, 40 plus coming up. 10 seconds. Joe Marsh, Frank Messina, Callum Goodman, Michael Cheney, Tom Truxell, James DeBerry, and Darren Darmos. There we go. Got the headlight out front. That's what we're here for, baby. Love to see it. Keeps the power on the ground around the first turn. 3, 6, 1. Ooh, man, may have gotten taken from him right there. Michael Cheney in the fight, though. Whole shot might have been too close to call. Junior A, 25 plus, 10 seconds. Andrew Boggs, Braden Moore, Mario Tonchev, Jeremy Wallstrom, Russell Smith, Wyatt Ford, Matthew Dreyer, Joshua Tock, Aaron Higgins, and Corey Jordan. 177 of Mario Tonchev. Good drive out in front. Ooh, takes a little dab. One rider down. Tonchev with a little hot sauce on it right there. On that Westfield Power Sports DQ and Spikes backed ride. Open B class, blue flag waves. Nate Garrison, Chris Gates, Blake Freiberger, Andrew Costa, Robert Hamrick, Nathaniel Gibbs. 10 seconds. Hunter Richards, Clayton Pratt, Caleb Hagan, Colton Painter, and Hayden Jones. And they're off. 5:22. That is Caleb Hagan out of Tompkinsville, Kentucky. Factory Connection back ride. Oh, little dab right there after the first turn. And gets it. A little woo out of him. I like it. We're here for it. Battery's got a big fan over there. I don't know. Either way, we're here for it. 250B coming up next. 10 seconds. Devin Moore, Ty Atkinson, Briar Manis, Ethan Harwell, Lucas Rubenstein, Austin Sakanikas, Mason Sakanikas, all the Sakanikases, Colt Noltcamper, Lennox Riley, and Logan Pellegrini. Sakanikas family, they all race, man. That is the coolest thing ever. 708. Oh, pile up in the first turn, and the 708 of Austin Sakanikas going to take the whole shot and the early lead. Colt Noltcamper got some time to make up now. Going to be a long day ahead of him. 150B coming up next. 10 seconds. Jaden Ferris, James Simpson, Gavin Hampton, Jarman Lilly, Nico Pursuti, Julian Loy, and Ryan Garone. 107 on the machine out in front. Let's see what the helmet sticker says. Gonna hang on to it. That's gonna be the 401 on the helmet. That is James Simpson. Guy's a whole shot machine. Running Lights Beverage, Digital Technology Solutions back ride. 4-stroke B lights. Ready to roll. 10 seconds. TJ Brown, Jacob Mitchell, Andrew Meyer, Griffin Coleman, Joseph Shalott, Cody Harding, Jacob McPherson, Meatball, Keenan Rupp, Wiley Tucker, Bryce Woodrum, Walker Hashman, and Spencer Knight. Round the first turn we go. Meatball on the inside. No! Gonna go to the 704 of Wiley Tucker out of Spencer, Indiana on the Spikes KTM. Took his lunch money right there. Meatball's gonna have some words for him, man. Vet B, 30 plus, ready to roll. 10 seconds. Adam O'Dell, Jonathan Bottomy, Logan Vaughn, Michael Jarosco, Corey Armstrong, Pete Pedruti, Keaton Schatzer, Dylan Davis, Ricky Stanley, Michael Shoemaker, and Richard Moore. .371 out front. No, it's going to be the 776 taking it away from him. That's Richard Moore making the grown man move on that factory connection and Point View cycle back ride. Grabbing that hole shot. And here we go with a senior B, 40 plus, 10 seconds. Larry Hopper, Fernando Pino, Miss Leno Batista, Brendan Hagan, Adam Nastic, and Jason Cottrell. Off and rolling, Senior B, 40 plus, jockeying for position through the first turn. Couple little dabs, don't matter. 150 on the machine, 410 on the helmet. That is Adam Nastic on that Action Extreme Sports back ride. Grabbing that whole shot and early lead. And here we go with our last row. Junior B, 25 plus, 10 seconds. Jeremiah Spicer, Zach Cummins, Devin Hall, Andrew Tinker, Ryan Bierman, Douglas Randolph, Leroy Petrie, and Billy S. Saliga. Looks like all of our riders are off on the starting line. Do not cross here between turn 1 and 2. Riders coming at you. That is the 378, and it's going to be the 378 on the helmet. That is Jeremiah Spicer out of Sophia, West by God, Virginia. On the KTM, grabbing that whole shot and early lead. And if you are here at the track, you are now free to move about the country. Appreciate you for coming out, hanging out, and partying with us at the start. We're going to take a short commercial break, get in a word from our sponsors, and be back with more from the Rocky Mountain ATV, MC, Mountaineer, GNCC. Our salute to first responders. We've got JNCC in the house with us. They're pulling hole shots and amateur wins out there in the senior 45, or the sportsman 45 plus class. What a day. We'll be right back after this.
I'm Jordan Ashburn, and you're watching GNCC Live at RacerTV.com.
You know, when I take the bike out like this, all my stresses just melt away.
I hear that. This bad boy can fix anything.
Yep, tough day at work. Nice cruiser sorts you right out.
When I'm riding, I'm not even thinking about my painful cavity.
Well, you shouldn't ignore that.
And every time I get stressed about having to pay my bills, I just hop on the bike, man.
Oh, come on, man. You gotta pay your bills.
You don't have to worry about anything when you're protected by America's #1 motorcycle insurer.
Well, you definitely do. Those things aren't related, so...
Ah, yee! Oh, that is a vibrating pain.
Every generation believes they've invented the best way. With age comes wisdom. We've come to realize that every piece of knowledge is learned, passed down from those generous and patient enough to teach.
Bogging off the bottom. Let's take a look.
Legacy. It's not about leaving something behind to be remembered by. It's realizing that the future lies within the next generation.
Let's call tonight. All right.
The nature of true progress is humbly building something bigger than yourself. Rocky Mountain ATV MC. This is our legacy.
Whatever you drive, however you drive. AMSOIL specially engineers lubricants to maximize power, performance, and protection in your vehicles, so you can work hard and play hard with confidence. Order online at amsoil.com.
Progressive GNCC Racing is brought to you by Progressive. Progressive could save you hundreds of dollars on your automobile and motorcycle insurance. Specialized e-turbo bicycles. It's you, only faster. RockyMountainATVMC.com. Get ready.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Beckley, West Virginia for the 2024 Rocky Mountain ATV MC Mountaineer GNCC. This is round number 11 of the 2024 Progressive Grand National Cross Country Series presented by Specialized. My name is Jackson Burl, and I'm going to be alongside Zach Heron to help bring today's coverage. Zach, it's good to be here, GNCC Racing.
Man, it's always good to be GNCC Racing, but how cool is it that now we kind of get to see the different side of GNCC Racing in the drier, dustier conditions? We've been talking about it all weekend long. We know who the Mud Kings are. We know who's able to get the job done when it's wet, when they're splishing and splashing. But this is a whole new set of obstacles these riders are going to face today. Excited to see how it all plays out. But before we get to that, we got to take a look at how things started out with your Specialized start recap. Absolute fireworks right from the green flag of our XC1 class. Just wait till you see this. We talk about yesterday in our XC1 class, everybody talking about the start. You got to get up front early. Ronnie Rush was able to do just that. It led him to his first XC1 Pro podium. We see some of the favorites. Johnny Girard led them into turn one. Oh, some problems for, looks like, Ricky Russell and Rui Barbosa. How about the number 3, Jordan Ashburn, making some grown man moves, as Mikey Waynes would say, but it was Mike Wachowski on that Phoenix Racing Honda who actually capitalized in turns 2 and 3 to lead your XC1 field off into the woods. Not sure if we'll catch it on this camera shot or not, though. Ricky Russell going down pretty hard in that third turn, so we'll see whether he's able to get back up and get going. Our XC2 250 Pro, a little look over from Grant Davis. He's trying to repeat, see if he can win from the XC2 class once again. But one rider that does not want to let him do it, it's his teammate Gus Reardon. It's a drag race of the Landers KTMs into turn 2, but the whole shot award going to go to the 922 of Grant Davis with his teammate just behind in tow. Looks like one of our Cowie riders, possibly Jesse Ansley, back there in the third place position. And already you can see the effects that the XC2 class is dealing with from the dust. Our FMF XC3 125 Pro-Am class, welcome to GNCC Racing. Around the outside, a little bit of patience, it pays off for him. The 701 of Kita Watanabe from our JNCC Japanese series over there. We were talking with Jared Bolton. He says there's a lot of similarities, a lot of differences. One thing's for sure, if you get the early start, it's going to be a good race for you. We see that he did not lead them into the woods, but still up inside that top 3. Great stuff to have Kita Watanabe and our entire JNCC family here with us this weekend.
Yeah, super cool to have them here with us. Taking a look now at your Yamaha Racing race format. The track length for the day going to be 12.5 miles. The race length, a 3-hour race in your XC1 Open Pro class. That is a 122cc2 open bike. Your XC2 class, that is going to be up to a 250cc bike. And then, of course, your FMF XC3 125 Pro-Am, only going to be 122 to 125 cc's.
Absolutely, and those are going to be some of the classes we'll be following closely, along with a lot of our other top amateurs, the up-and-coming champs of the future, we like to say. We'll show you how the points are breaking down throughout the 2024 season with our Rocky Mountain ATV MC points breakdown. It's been the Johnny Girard Show, Jackson. There's no other way to say it. That FMF Red Bull KTM has got control of this championship. You can see 262 points compared to the 209, the Rocky Mountain Red Bear Kawasaki of Stu Baylor. He's not out of this thing yet, and if there's a one person you don't want to put into a corner with their back against the wall, it's Stu Baylor, but he's got his work cut out for him. How about Grant Davis, though? The XC2 rider currently sitting third in the overall points.
And that just shows how good he's done all season long, not just there at that last event where he was able to take that overall, but all season long he's been chipping away at those points. He finds himself third in the overall charts out of that XC2. Stu Baylor, you mentioned his back against the wall. His back's against the wall now as he was the last person to enter the woods from the XC1 class. So we're going to get to see Stu Baylor go to work here today.
Yeah, I'm glad that you brought that up, Jackson. Not the start that the 514 needed, but we've seen him charge from the back of the pack before. Certainly capable of doing it again today, but going to be tough with the dust out here. Now, talk about knowing how to get the job done. Stu Baylor has gotten the job done here the last 4 years. Ben Kelly, who was back racing with us, was the winner in 2019. So we've got some experience out there. Stu Baylor might not have gotten the start, but he certainly knows how to finish out here at the Mountaineer GNCC.
Yeah, no doubt. This is going to be an interesting one there. So Stu Baylor going to know his way around very well. 4 straight wins. We'll see if he can do it again today.
Now we're going to flash forward. This has already come and gone. This is one of our camera shots early while we were wrapping up the starts and show you exactly what our lead pack is looking like. There it is, the 282 of Mike Wachowski. Once again, a fantastic start and putting himself up front early on that Phoenix Racing Honda. Man, look at the gap, Jackson. Some moves being made by Mike Wachowski. He knows it is time to go. And looks like that is your points leader of Johnny Girard sitting in the second place spot. A crucial start for him as well. Obviously would love to be in the first place position, but to have majority of the XC1 field, including his title combatant behind him, got to be a good spot. There we see the Coastal Racing Gas of Jordan Ashburn going to shuffle back to third in the running order. Your champ from last year, Craig DeLong, a little look over the shoulder on that Rockstar Energy Husqvarna. Looks like he's going to see that was the 198 of Liam Draper. Looks like that's Evan Smith running on some of that Moto T's magic Jackson's been talking about on the shirt this weekend. There goes Trevor Bollinger, Rui Barbosa back up and rolling after that first turn crash as well. There goes Josh Schrang on his new beta ride. Looks like this is Ben Kelly. You can see that shoey helmet and the straight back. Always a sure indicator of Ben Kelly making his way through. There goes, looks like Stu Baylor and possibly Lyndon Snodgrass just in front of him on the Babbitt's Kawasaki. Stu obviously on that Rocky Mountain Red Bear team. And look at this. Looks like that's Ricky Russell. And he is pulling off to the side of the track. We just saw Grant Davis go by. Oh, no, this is not what you want to see. Returning back to GNCC Racing on that Ampro Yamaha was Ricky Russell. Oh, man, and that looks to be some kind of knee problem. I'm trying to see if they're moving the knee or maybe trying to adjust a knee brace. Looks
it's like so hard to tell.
Looks like they may be trying to take the boot off. So this is not what the 212 was hoping for in his return. Man,
Zach, you can tell he is hurting.
That is tough to see for sure. So Ricky Russell, we're going to hope for the best with him. This is still your specialized rapid replay, so this has already happened. We're going to get to the live shot here soon, but once again, look at the gap. That was your leader, Mike Wachowski, who just passed by, and he has hit the ground running, Jackson. He knows with the dust flying in the air, it's going to be hard to cut down those gaps. It's going to be hard to be able to catch up to the riders in front of you. He's making the most of it right now, as now we flash forward mile number 7, live camera shot at our FMF PowerPoint. We're waiting on our leaders, and we welcome Johnny G to the booth. Johnny, Mike Wachowski, you see him on your screen. The guy is a rocket ship off the start here on lap 1.
Yeah, guys, just stepping into the booth here, but I was over watching the starts, and man, it was an elbow match between Mike Wachowski and Craig DeLong. A lot of guys, other Johnny Girard in there as well, just everybody trying to get that elbow ahead, trying to push the guy behind him back, just knowing that vision is going to be so important, and you can see exactly why right there. Jordan Ashburn just drifting just barely off the good line into the powder coming to a stop. Dust, dust, dust. We talked about it all day yesterday, 2 hours yesterday. It's going to be 3 hours today, and we're going to keep talking about it because that's a big factor here today.
Now, as far as pit strategy coming into play, we talk about it a lot. Filter swaps, something that I've heard a few people talking about. Do we think that we're going to see something of that extreme here today?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's already in the plans for most of these guys. Talking about it, we're going to see the filter swaps. We're going to see which teams are going to go with it. From what I've heard, the Austrian brands all planning on doing filter swaps. That would be your gas guys, your Husky guys, your KTM guys. Some of the Yamaha guys saying, hey, our filter's up front. It's a little different setup. We think we can get away with it. Talking with Liam Draper yesterday, but ultimately they can only talk before. But the crew chiefs, the mechanics, they're going to make those calls on the fly and decide exactly what route they're going to go. Now we see our fourth place rider coming through, and that is your championship points leader, Johnny Girard there. Another thing worth pointing out, Zach, while I was down there on the starting line, I started looking at the rear of all these machines. Very diverse tire choices for today, and a lot of different options that you would not normally see. These dry, dusty conditions. Look at that. Trevor Bones are all over the back of Evan Smith, really wanting to make the pass. And so for those of you not familiar at home, generally there's a few different tires that these guys will run, but today there's 3 tires that you would almost never see on a GNCC starting line. I don't want to say almost never, but very rarely, that are very predominant out there today. It looked like Ricky Russell actually running a trials tire.
I was curious if we'd see any of those.
Just only the one that I saw. Now, I did not check every single machine, but I tried to watch them as they went to the line. Ricky Russell on a trials tire. A lot of guys on that Dunlop MX-53, which is kind of the hard pack intermediate terrain. And then quite a few of that EN91, which is the DOT-approved tire that a lot of these guys that are racing in Europe. Here we see Ricky Russell. Trials tire not going to be a factor today because Ricky Russell already into the Ampro pits. We'll get an update when we can. Don't know. This was his first race back, obviously, from injury, from that broken shoulder. Is it that? Was there a bike issue?
No. Sorry, John, you weren't in the booth yet. We actually got a great camera shot of it. We didn't see what happened, but it looked to be a problem with the right knee. He was sat down on the ground. They were trying to get it bent. Looked like maybe a knee brace at first, but as we can see, looks to be more of that. Sounds like Jackson Burrow getting ready to go down and try to see if he can get a word with the Ampro team, maybe even Ricky himself. But like you said, not the return to racing that we were hoping for the 212. There we see Jesse Ansley doing a little bit of paddling his way through.
Great start for him in that XC2 class, right up in the mix, along with your championship contenders, Grant Davis and Angus Reardon. They're just both basically 1, 2, 3, those 3 guys and a couple other riders up in the mix as well. Again, it's been a while, Zach, since I've seen guys so vigorously going for that whole shot and trying to get into the woods first. I mean, normally, yeah, of course you want to be in the front, but a lot of times we even see the cat and mouse game of, no, you lead. We saw it 2 weeks ago, Liam Draper leading 2 laps, starting to feel that pressure, saying he was tightening up a bit, saying, you know what, Johnny, why don't you just go ahead and have that point position? Things are going pretty fast for me right now, allowing him to kind of reset and come back after it. Not going to see that today. These guys are anything they can do to keep the rider behind them. They did it right from the drop of the gate. Everybody just lightning quick on those starter buttons and kickstarters, and just getting to the first turn and into the woods as quickly as they possibly can.
You can see T-Rex, Nick DeFeo making some grill man moves around a slower rider there in front of him. To your point, Johnny, we saw a lot of separation throughout the field yesterday, but I did see in one of our earlier shots, Grant Davis had already caught up to the back of the XC1 field, so he's obviously in the thick of it, dust, everything else included, but the fact that he was already able to fight through the dust, close the gap, and get up to the back of XC1, this guy's on fire right now.
Absolutely. Grant is on a mission, coming straight off his first ever overall win. One other thing, worth pointing out, we're seeing this on screen. This is a lot of dust here, but you really pointed it out well, Zach. These guys are a lot closer together than what we saw yesterday in our ATV races, and there is a legitimate logistical reason for that. Although the dirt bikes are kicking up a lot of dust, I was talking with Brandy Richards, this morning's overall winner in that WXC class, and she even said, I was out there in the woods yesterday for the ATV race, and I thought to myself, how are we even going to see anything the way it was for them? She said, I got out there, and it's dusty for sure. She said, I'm a West Coast girl. I race in the desert. I race in the dust. It's very dusty today. She said, but it's nothing like it was yesterday when the ATVs were running. We talked about it during yesterday's shows. The ATVs, just so much more surface area on the ground with the more tires, wider tires, under a heavier load. It just kicks up so much more dust. So we're going to see some battles today. It won't necessarily be who got the whole shot wins the race. race or anything like that, I do think we're going to see a big advantage, like we talked about, saving the vision, saving the air filters, all that kind of stuff if you are up front. But there's still going to be opportunities for wheel-to-wheel racing and passes made today for sure.
Without a doubt, going to be exciting to watch. We took a look at your previous winners. 2019, Ben Kelly got the job done. He's back racing with us, and we were able to catch up with the FMF Red Bull KTM rider about the Mountaineer GNCC.
Yeah, no, it was a good race. I was really happy with it. Like I said, going into it, I was going to race to win and be on the podium, and I'd be happy. And, you know, I was just a touch off of that. But, yeah, I was, you know, in the mix all day. I raced hard. I felt strong the whole time. Kind of that fifth lap, I made a few mistakes, and that's what set me back. But I, like, stayed in it and feel like those are things that, you know, I can fix hopefully easily. So yeah, I'm excited for today. Conditions are super different, rocky, rough out there, like pretty gnarly, treacherous is gonna be, and you know that dust is what it is. You know, I don't think anyone likes it. It's annoying when you can't see, but there's nothing we can do. So yeah, I think gonna have to focus on that start mainly, and hopefully get a good one, and yeah, make it hard on the rest of the field out there. But yeah, just excited to be back racing, like I said, and leave you guys in the booth doing what you do, and me on the course doing what I do. I feel like I heard some of the quad pro guys jump the gun there, so probably just getting a little antsy and wanting that track position. So yeah, it's one of those tracks where we've been here a few years now, so kind of the main line is set in, and you know, cutting across the mountains, it's kind of bench cut a lot, so not many opportunities to pass, which I feel like we say a lot and we end up always passing people, but yeah, it's going to be one of those tough ones, especially with how fast everyone goes nowadays and is so close. And yeah, just the dust, man, it's one of those things. And yeah, like I said, I think I'm going to focus on the start more than anything, but we'll see. Just let the green flag fly and yeah, go racing.
I don't know what he's talking about. I thought he did great in the booth the whole time. I mean, obviously, I'm glad to see him back out there, but we miss him up here. He gave some great insight. One of the things that as we take a look at our Yamaha Racing track map, he talked about that main line being beat in. One of the phrases he used, bench cut. Can you provide a little more clarity as to what exactly that means, Johnny?
Sure. The topography here in West Virginia, on a lot of places that we race, it's very steep. So the sides of the obviously, when you're looking at a map like this, you know, it kind of looks relatively flat. But behind that map, you can see just how much the ground undulates here. I mean, we have some really tall, frankly, mountains and valleys that we're racing in and out of. And it's not always just a straight up and down the side. And a lot of these hillsides are so steep that you can't really ride along them. Obviously, there was some infrastructure here at Summit Bechtel before we got here, so they have some dozer roads cut in to be able to access for, you know, different reasons to get to different parts of the property. And the race course itself traverses a lot of those dozer roads, or what he's referring to as bench cut, almost as if you're in like a mountain town, the way that the road kind of serpentines its way up to the top of the mountain or goes around the edge and makes like a spiral. That's what you would call a bench cut. They take a dozer, cut a ledge into the side of the mountain to have a flat surface to be able to drive on, walk on, depending on how wide you make it. And a lot of that is the race course here today, which, again, as Ben was saying, we see our leaders on screen, makes it kind of one-lined. Out front, still leading the way, Mike Witkowski on that 282 Phoenix Racing Honda. Hard in pursuit, Jordan Ashburn on that number 3 Coastal Racing Gas. You can see the dust kicking up, but those two have pulled out a little bit of a lead over the rest of the field right now.
Without a doubt. And you take a look at Jordan Ashburn, the sense of urgency was there right from the get-go. Not sure if maybe there was a problem for Gerard, but I believe we saw him in front of Ashburn at one point in our early camera shot. But Ashburn charging hard, and look at the dust kicked up behind Witkowski. We talked about the following distance. Looks like this is our monster mile, the rock garden that we'll hear a lot of riders talk about at the 10-mile mark. What is the sweet distance, if you will, to where you're close enough to where you can see what's going on, but you're not just eating a face full of dust, or is it pretty much you're going to have to sacrifice if you want the other?
Well, it really depends on sections of the track, too. You know, we saw in our track preview, and we can see here on screen, some of the sections more like this. So this is what we'll call talcum powder or silt dust. When you hit it, it kind of explodes, blows up into the air. The visibility is going to be much less, and the only way that you're really going to be able to follow anybody at speed through that is if you're right on their rear wheel. So you're kind of riding before the dust kicks up, I guess, if you would explain it that way. Whereas some of the other sections of the track where it's a little rocky, more hard pack, it's just kind of that haze. So, you know, you can kind of back off a little bit if you want to, or get right up on somebody. The different sections of the track are really dictating that. You can see Jordan has fallen off a little bit from Mike here because they just went through that talcum powder section. But you were mentioning you were mentioning Johnny Girard. And he actually was back to fourth, where we saw Craig DeLong there was in the number 3 spot at that last shot. And from what we're being told, now we finally see our third-place rider, the 969 of Johnny Girard. What a gap that Mike Witkowski and Jordan Ashburn have opened up. I mean, these guys have just marched away from the rest of the field here in only 10 miles of racing. And again, we'll come back to it. I believe the dust a big factor. Now Liam Draper looks like in the number 4 spot there. So another good start for Liam in what will be his second XC1 race. There is Trevor Bollinger there in the number 5 spot. Then it's Evan Smith in 6. So we did see Bollinger was all over Smith in our last camera shot. He has gotten around him there. Then it is
Strang, I believe, right there.
Josh Strang. Oh, couldn't
think that was Rui Barbosa. There goes Kelly.
Yep. Stu Baylor. I was going to mention this. I'm sure you guys, I was late to work today, so I missed the intro to the show, but I was over watching the starts. Stu Baylor last. And the worst part about that, not only was he last, he actually had to come to a complete stop on the second straightaway because he could see nothing. Yep. Again, that's one of those silty sections. Stu surely will work his way up through the pack, make some passes, put some pressure on. But a big points day for Stu Baylor today. I don't know if we've already talked about it, but the championship looms large today. 53 points coming into today. After the race is over today, there will only be 60 points available. So if Johnny Girard is able to leave here with a 60-point lead, being that he has already won enough races that Stu could not meet him or eclipse him on race wins, Johnny Girard, it's on the table for him to wrap this championship up today. But if you're Stu Baylor, you want to flip that script, man. You want to make up max points today. You want to get to the front, and you want to push Johnny back. But right now, I don't even have to do the math. Johnny is in position to wrap up this championship as they run right now.
Yeah, to your point, we were watching the starts as well. I don't know if you could see, but when Stu came to a stop, that was to keep from running over Ricky Russell, who was laying on the ground right there. You couldn't even hardly see him in the dust. Just saw the 212 on the back of the Moose jersey. So just goes to show, I mean, down below, we heard from some riders yesterday, they liked the dust because they couldn't see the rocks that were coming, so they didn't even worry about checking up for him. But very treacherous out here. You see Jordan Ashburn falling off just a little bit, but he can actually see what's in front of him. Even just those big kind of runoff divots that you're seeing across the property as well have given some riders some trouble. But to your point, we talk about this 2-rider breakaway. This is the exact same thing we saw in our AM race with Brandy Richards and Rachel Archer. On the first lap, I almost couldn't believe it. It came by, I believe it was 2 to 3 minutes between first and second and third and fourth that were also in their own 2-rider battle. Seems like those top two able to break away extremely early out here this weekend.
Yeah, and track conditions, a lot of things come into play there, but it is funny how you see the theme of the race throughout the weekend across different races, whether it be 2 wheels or 4, you know, the morning race, the afternoon race. There we see I believe that was still Mike Witkowski coming by. We'll wait and see if we have Jordan Ashburn coming by, and there he is in the number 2 spot. So these guys, you know, they most likely at this point don't know, and they don't need to know, but they're making it a 2-horse race for the lead here very, very early in this one. A lot of racing still left to shake out, but at this point, there's nobody else even in these camera shots. They have opened up a pretty massive gap. We'll check timing and scoring. Still, no, our third-place rider, Johnny Girard, has not checked in. We'll get you guys that gap when he checks in. These guys are already 1 mile or approaching 1 mile in to the racetrack here at the Monster Mile on lap number 2.
They're going to make it tough on everybody else. That is for sure. Now, we saw both of those riders running hydration packs. Seen several riders even yesterday that don't regularly wear them. Are you seeing? Do we have second and third or third and fourth check in?
So yeah, I don't know if we need to get an update here. Johnny Girard has not checked in, but Liam Draper and Trevor Bollinger have. Could be a transponder issue because we don't have visual here. We'll wait and we'll watch. But as they have checked in with the transponders, it is Mike Witkowski leading the way, 11 seconds over Jordan Ashburn and Liam Draper, 1 minute 17 seconds back already in the number 3 spot. Then it's Trevor Bollinger in 4th. He's 6 seconds behind Liam Draper, so a great start to the day for Trevor Bollinger, battling over a podium position. Evan Smith in that number 5 spot, 14 seconds back, and then Josh Strang on that beta there in the number 6 spot. So we'll watch on screen here. It is the 282 of Witkowski, and almost in a way a little reminiscent of yesterday. We've got a newer-ish rider to the XC1 61 class. Mike has actually spent quite a bit of time up front. I don't know how much he's led, but he's ridden in a podium position a lot this year and had some top fives. There is Evan Smith coming through, so that was our 5th place rider when they checked in at scoring. And there is Josh Strang. He was 6th. At least according to timing and scoring, we'll see if we can get a confirmation on that on one of these camera shots to see if Johnny Gerard is still back there or has that changed up, because I'm not seeing Johnny checked in.
Couldn't tell. KTM just came by. I couldn't quite see if that was Kelly.
I've got all the way back to 15th overall checked in and no Johnny Gerard. So we'll see if that is a transponder error or if something has happened to Johnny between the 10-mile marker and the finish line.
Well, and to the point, we talked about this track kind of deceiving. Everything lies underneath that low-laying dust, and so some things can jump up and surprise you. Another thing a lot of people are talking about, the rocks and the square edge bumps out here as well. So some of these quicker sections, things can go awry in a hurry.
Can go awry in a hurry, and we were just talking about this championship. Johnny was in position as they were running to lock up that championship today if they stayed where they were, which we know there's a ton of racing left. But as of right now, Stu Baylor stands to make up big points on the day because Johnny Gerard still not checked in. Again, folks at home watching, you keep watching the screen. We'll all keep our eye out for Johnny Gerard, but we have not seen him. And now with 20 riders checked in, still no Johnny Gerard, meaning as it runs, he is scoring 0 points on the day. So whatever Stu Baylor scores, he will make up, eating into that 53-point lead that Johnny Gerard has. How quickly things change. 2 miles ago, Johnny Gerard in position to lock up the championship. He disappears from our screen, disappears from our live scoring, and where did he go?
That is the question. There goes Josh Strang chasing after. Looked like that was Evan Smith just in front of him. Trevor Bollinger looked to be like the man on the move. He was charging hard forward as well. Just saw another KTM rider. What are we hearing, Johnny?
Oh, no, I'm talking about some overall positions. Nick DeFeo from the 250A class up into 3rd place overall. Oh, my goodness, Nick DeFeo is on a mission out of Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. Grant Davis, last week's overall winner from that XC2 class into the 4th place spot overall. Jonathan Johnson, also from that XC2 class, 2nd place in that XC2 class, is 5th overall. Gavin Simon, 2nd place in the 250A class in the 6th place spot overall. And then it's Angus Reardon, who is your 3rd place rider in that XC2 class, who is up into now the 7th place overall position. So a big shakeup. The other thing that's doing is as these 250A and XC2 riders are checking in, it's pushing Stu Baylor further and further and further down. He was in 14th and 15th. He's now 19th overall on corrected time. So as big as the point swing looked for a minute, then it swung the other way. Now Stu all the way back to 19th overall. That's only 2 points. So not the max points you want to be making up, assuming Johnny is out of this race or not going to score any points today. Stu needs to get on the move and start making tracks to gain as many points as he can to chip away at that 53-point deficit.
Yeah, as we continue to watch and wait, Jackson Burrell, if you can hear us, maybe ride over and see if, oh, look at that, right on cue. What's up, Jackie Legs?
Them with KTM yet. They are frantic over there at the pits, but Johnny Gerard did pull into the pits. He was having some sort of issues. He is back off and rolling, but some more issues for other riders as well. Craig DeLong, I saw him off of the bike walking, so that is bad news for the KTM and Husqvarna boys.
Wow. So things shaking up in a hurry from 2 riders that were inside the top 5 early and from 1 rider that was trying to bring home an XC1 title.
Yeah, we have our defending champion, Craig DeLong, who's already admittedly just had a bit of a nightmare of a 2024 season trying to back up that championship he earned last year. Struggles of all kinds this year. Ultimately putting a few good races together, but this is a race last year where he really came into his own. One of those races where he flexed his muscle and showed, hey guys, I'm here, this is for real, I'm going to win this championship. I know coming into today he was very enthusiastic and looking forward to doing it again. Was up in a podium position early, and then another rider that just kind of disappeared out of sight. So odd to see 2 of our top runners, our former champion or our current champion, and the rider looking to potentially put the lock on this 2024 championship, both dropping out of the top 20 overall, and we're told with bike issues.
Now I got to ask you, Johnny, if you're Johnny Gerard, who we're seeing on screen right now, he is back up and running, like you said, in position to possibly clinch today, but things not going his way on a relatively hard to ride track, hard to override, hard to make up time on. What do you expect to see from Gerard over the next 2.5 hours? Are we going for it? Are we trying to lock it up today, or are we playing it a little smart, thinking about the war, not the battle?
Yeah, no, if you're Johnny Gerard, this, in my opinion, and I'm sure his crew will relay this information. This is a calculated points grab today. He's got to get something to make it worthwhile for him, for the team, get out there. And if it's 1 point for 20th overall, if that's what he's able to do, that's what he's going to go for. Is that what he's aiming for? Of course not. He's going to try and get up as high as he can, but they're going to want to try to manage his effort and manage just how many risks he's taking, because obviously they've had some type of bike issue. We'll try to get an update on that. Hopefully they've got it fixed fully. Look at this, Stu Baylor on the charge. Maybe the word has gotten to Stu Baylor that Johnny Girard is out, or maybe he saw him there in the pits and he's thinking, hey, I got to go get those points. But yeah, it really comes down to, if you're Stu Baylor, this is a go for broke day now, I believe. If you're Johnny Girard, it's manage, it's calculate, it's try to make smart passes, keep yourself on track, don't make the big mistake, don't tear up the bike further. And the one thing we don't know is what was the issue. Is it a looming issue, or is it 100% fixed now?
Looking like that's Cody Barnes making his way through on that Phoenix Racing Honda. And taking a look here at the PowerPoint, looking like, as far as we know, still should be Wachowski out front. And Ashburn, there goes Toby Cleveland out of our XC2 class. And we're waiting for clarification here about our physical on-track leader. Sounds like we may have actually had a pass for the lead. So Jordan Ashburn, here we are at the 2 mile mark. As you see, Ashburn making his way by on the Coastal Racing gas. And as far as we know, that is the lead. There it is.
Oh,
so yeah, Jordan Ashburn makes the pass stick. We talked about that sense of urgency. I mean, you could see it right from turn one. I mean, he came across the front end of everybody. Didn't make any contact with anybody, but it was very clear he wanted that start and he wanted to be up front early.
Yeah, so Ashburn, new leader, getting around Mike Wachowski.
Watching. There goes Nick DeFeo. So that is our, I believe, 250A or amateur or open A rider. He's currently sitting
250A.
250A, yep. Third in the overall, which, I mean, he's probably cool with, but he was second in the overall at the last round.
That
so
is true.
T-Rex, there goes Gavin Simon, second in that class as well. Also inside the top 10, sixth overall at the moment. Big opportunity for both of these riders. We talked to DeFeo.
Absolutely. I mean, if you're a 250A rider, and here's the thing, this is the balance of those guys. Most of these guys are younger. They're still teenagers. These are their heroes that they're out there racing with now in the afternoon race, but at the same time they've got crazy speed and they're so quick off the drop at the beginning of races. You almost have to be a little cautious if you're their pit crew. Like, maybe don't get them so hyped up about the overall, just let them keep racing, because it's easy to make a mistake and throw away what is an awesome position here early in the race. Again, Nick DeFeo, third place overall, Gavin Simon, sixth place overall, and those two, it looks like for right now, the only JoJo Cunningham in the Open A class up there into 16th. So 3 riders, A-class riders, up into the top 20 overall. Especially on a dusty track like this, that's a great start for those guys.
Impressive performance for sure. Not a great start for the Ampro Yamaha of Ricky Russell, and we've got Jackson Burrell standing by with him. Jackson, what's going on?
Yeah, guys, I'm down here with Ricky Russell. Ricky, I know this is not the way you wanted to be talking to me. Could you fill us in on what's going on?
Yeah, no, I can't catch a break this year. I was all healthy coming into it and crashed first turn because my front wheel went into string spokes, or my front spokes went into strings foot peg. He sent me on the ground quick, got up, was like, all right, we're going to start in the back of the pack, and then crashed the third corner as well. And unfortunately, my right knee it went in a bind, and I could not get it out. I was trying, and I've had it happen in the past, but it's never been a big deal. It usually just pops right back in. But something on the outside of my knee, it was super painful, and I honestly could not ride. So stopped with some pit crew out there, and we tried and couldn't get it to go in, and so I had to come back and go to SOS, and Dr. Tanner got me, did a weird stretch on it and got it straightened out, and all of a sudden it just released all the pressure, and it's good to go now. So frustrating, but the team kind of made a decision we shouldn't go out in these conditions and just ride around for practice when risk getting hurt. So unfortunately, I got to watch it from the sidelines, which I'm really bummed about.
Ricky, we hate to hear it, but we thank you for the interview. Back to you guys.
All right, thanks, Jackson. Tough luck there. I mean, you got to give credit to Ricky taking the interview, telling us what's going on. He's got to be feeling pretty dejected. And like we said, right there from the second turn almost, things were not going his way. So tough break for not only Ricky, but that Ampro team as well. as now we hang out here at mile 4, try to catch a glimpse of your leaders.
And the leaders did come, or our third and fourth place riders did come through, and it is still Liam Draper, and just behind him was, as they came through, Trevor Bollinger. So that's third and fourth in your XC1 class. Man, what a shakeup. I mean, looking at this top 20 running order, folks, if you're following along with the live scoring at home, it's basically like normally we take our XC1, XC2 guys, maybe put them a little shaker. We got some Open A guys. We got some 250A guys. And honestly, it is just shake them up. I mean, we've got XC1, 250A, XC2, XC2. It really is just wild. It's crazy out there here in this first lap of racing.
Well, things are definitely shaping up to be exciting. Just about 47 minutes into this 3-hour-long race. How's it going to shake up? It's anybody's guess. Mike Wachowski starting out to an early race lead on that Phoenix Racing Honda, but it was the Coastal Racing Gas, the big number 3 of Jordan Ashburn. There you see him on screen, chasing him down and making the moves when they count, getting into that oh-so-crucial early race lead. Is he going to be able to hang on to it? We're going to find out after we hear from our sponsors from the Rocky Mountain ATV-MC, Mountaineer, GNCC.
Unleash aggression, reliability, and premium quality with Kenda tires. Delivering exceptional performance on all types of vehicles. Automotive, ATVs, UTVs, motorcycles, bicycles, trailers, lawn and garden, and even golf. Trust Kenda tires to guide you on your next adventure. Kenda, designed for your journey.
Born of family values and a homegrown work ethic, Cometic Gasket seals your machine so you can focus on the finish line. Cometic Gaskets are the competitive standard for racers who demand the very best inside their engine. Cometic Gaskets are always constructed from superior materials designed to perform in the most demanding environments. Whether it's a championship on the line or a day in the dirt with friends, professionals and enthusiasts alike depend on Cometic. Cometic Gasket, sealing championships since 1989.
On Track School is an online private school catering to some of the top athletes in the world. We offer a flexible schedule for students that are chasing their dreams and always on the go. We are an accredited K-12 school where students can graduate with a diploma. Scan the QR code or call us to book an appointment with one of our learning coaches to discuss your students' next steps.
And welcome back to GNCC Live here on RacerTV.com. Round number 11 of the 2024 season. The Mountaineer GNCC. It has been a sensational race day, a wild race day. It's Duster. That's okay. We'll take it. It's making for some interesting racing. Mike Wachowski, your early leader. Jordan Ashburn sitting in that 2 spot. Ashburn able to get around him up in the first place position. And, of course, T-Rex Nick DeFeo doing his thing from the amateur rakes. My goodness, a wild start for him.
Yeah, it's been wild. I mean, we every time we think we've got it all figured out, the next camera shot, everything's changed. It's a big change from the start of the race, and we expect quite a bit more excitement coming our way.
Well, we know this week is our salute to first responders. We go back 20-plus years ago. We had September 11, 2001, and we recognize, I got to give kudos to GNCC, Racer Productions, MX Sports with Pro Motocross as well, honoring a moto hero every single race. Well, this week we kind of go above and beyond that. We hand out these challenge coins to our first responders at the start of every single race, and we had a chance to kind of dive a little deeper into some of our own first responders here with GNCC.
I've got some military members in my family, and I really appreciate, what they've done and the sacrifices they've given, and to allow us to be able to come out here and just have fun and just enjoy this sport and this nation, and yeah, very appreciative.
Oh, it means a lot. The guys that serve our country, they allow us to come here and race dirt bikes, so that I really appreciate that. And first responders, I've had my fair share of ambulance rides, so those guys, can't thank those guys enough too, because they really do save some lives.
Those guys and girls, they risk it all for us, and it's pretty awesome, that somebody can be that selfless, but yeah, I really appreciate anything and everything that our military and everybody else does for us. I couldn't do it, so yeah, it's really awesome.
Very cool little segment there. It's one of those things, like, we talk about our first responders, and everyone knows someone is related to someone that is in some capacity a first responder, be it, EMTs, firefighters, law enforcement, veterans of military service, etc. I've got a brother-in-law. He's a Vietnam veteran, so I tell you, he's getting up there. Ken is, but I've shared with him. I've been able to give him some of our challenge coins, and he's tuned into the broadcast, and he's like, Mikey, it's really awesome to see a sport as big as ours that still recognizes our first responders in the way that we do, because it's kind of lost in some other sports. So yeah, kudos to Racer Productions on that.
Yeah, without a doubt. You see Jordan Ashburn, your leader, on screen. And to your point, got to give some props to the AMA as well. Last couple of years, they've got that warrior class that is only reserved for veterans and first responders. We had that just a little bit earlier in our AM class. Got some good battles in that as well.
For sure.
They all deserve a big thank you, but they are fighting for those trophies.
Yes,
so great racing up there as well. We do have Jackson Burrow back in the booth with us. Jackson, you were riding around the pits, going from one tent to another. Tell us what you found out.
Man, it was hectic down there. KTM, Johnny Gerard pulled in. They've got that bike fixed. He spent a lot of time in that KTM pit, though, so he's going to have a lot of ground to make up. And then, unfortunately, he saw Craig DeLong walking off of the bike. It did not appear that the bike was the problem, so a tough break here for Craig DeLong.
Man, hoping everything is all right for the reigning champ. The number one was really kind of starting to get back into that old Craig way of riding, and so hopefully he will be back with us, if not by the end of this race, then at our next round. We did see Mike Wachowski go by on that Phoenix Racing Honda, and then this has been the hot topic, the gap between the top two and the rest of the field, which should be, I believe, Liam Draper on the Ampro Yamaha. There he is, right on cue, coming in next. Talk about a feeling right at home in the XC1 field multiple times, running up in the podiums. But this guy, I got to give him credit. Trevor Bollinger is on the move. He's been stalking Liam for the last little bit. Now he's got him just about to where you can start to see that head floating through the dust as they head off, try to chase down our top two.
Yeah, it's interesting. I heard Johnny Gallagher mention that yesterday on the ATV side. When you get in these dusty conditions, you almost look for that rider that's directly in front of you. You look for their helmet as you're going through some of these sections. Kind of helps guide you. So, little pro tip for you there from Johnny Gallagher on that one. And Evan Smith.
Go ahead, Jackson. You want to tell them?
A little pro tip would be wear a black helmet. Don't let them see that helmet through the woods.
Can't let them see it in the shadows.
I thought he was going to talk about the Moto Tees magic.
Hey, I have been talking about that as well. I've been saying if you're on the Moto Tees t-shirt, it helps you out, and we see it right now.
Evan Smith's got the pace. Stu Baylor charging hard through the pack as well. Both of them on this week's Moto Tees event t-shirt. There we see Rudy Barbosa. Got to give him some props too. He was down within those first few corners, got right back up and got right back in the fight. There we see the 514 of Stu Baylor, and he's made some moves. He was not even close to Barbosa, I believe, in the last camera shot. He's gotten around Ben Kelly and Grant Davis. Look at that. Once again, the XC2 rider in the thick of it, battling with the XC1 boys just like he lined up on row one.
Crazy.
there's his teammate, Gus Reardon. Obviously, Grant Davis deserves all the praise in the world, the second rider in history to get the overall from the XC2 row. But I really would have been curious, as I believe that was Cody Barnes that just came through in the third place spot, to see where Gus would have wound up in the overalls as well. He was right on his teammate's rear wheel for almost the entirety of that race, that last round, and just had a couple of mistakes bumping back off of the overall podium. So that entire Landers KTM team really feeling good. Obviously, Brandy Richards getting the overall win earlier today, and the two teammates in XC2 right now running 1 and 2 as they sit.
Yeah, doing a solid job. That was Jonathan Johnson we saw just roll through there. He is doing really well in the XC2 class. Obviously, the overall as well, sitting 5th last time they checked in with adjusted time. So riders moving through the FMF PowerPoint. 2-1-3, I believe that was Toby Cleveland right there. So Toby Cleveland charging through, but Mike Wachowski, our early leader, Jordan Ashburn's able to get around him last time we saw him. So Ashburn out in front, and this boy already claiming some riders having some issues. Hopefully we'll be able to get a scoop, find out some more details with Craig. Hopefully he's okay. But one of the things, we talk about the dust, we see this pretty common in dusty conditions. Guys will opt to come in and change out that filter, and then depending on what make a bike, it makes it maybe a little harder or a little easier depending on what you're riding out there. And I think that is T-Rex Nick DeFeo, yes, 246. So yeah, that's going to be interesting to see when it comes into to pit stops, who's going to be choosing to do what.
And speaking of being in the pits, that was one thing I saw when I went by too. Some of the XC2, XC3 riders tapping on the back of their motorcycle, of signaling that they are going to need an air filter.
Yeah, impressive to see. We just saw Jason Lipscomb and then Gavin Simon coming through as well. And to your point, like you said, Mikey, depending on what brand you ride, that pit stop's going to be a lot more crucial, a lot harder to do as well. And so we know that the Austrian brands, it sounded like they were planning on doing one, KTM, Husky, and Gas. But for our Cali riders, our Blue Crew members, what is that going to look at? There we see JoJo Cunningham making his way through on that Babbitt's Online Monster Energy Kawasaki. I believe he's out of our Open A class. And yeah, like you said, Jackson, there's a lot of signaling going on, I feel like, as well. Riders informing their teams as far as what they need, and then we talk about there's one rider out on the track, but it's a whole team effort as far as getting that machine all the way to the finish line. Best believe the pit crews are over there warming up, getting ready to do some work when these pit stops come into play.
Looking forward to it. Knocking on the door of an hour into this one. Jesse Ansley buzzing by right there, the 328.
Good ride for Ansley, too. Got a good start and trying to make the most of it. That's Sawyer Karatura on the 545. And there we see Johnny Gerard. So starting to catch up to that XC3 back of the XC2 field, and still has a long way to go. Curious, though, where that might put him as far as the overall picture goes. Like Johnny was talking about earlier, big picture, the war, not the battle. And so for right now, sounds like the team kind of relaying that to Johnny, but got to be a lot easier said than done, especially when you could almost taste that title.
Oh, yes.
It's amazing how quick racing will get you. I heard Johnny how I was in the pits talking about how Stu Baylor was almost out of the fight. Now he is more than in the fight.
Well, I mean, just look at our XC1 field as far as four-wheelers go. I mean, we thought it was done and over. Bryson Neal was going to have it, and then now Walker Fowler's right back into a title fight. So, yeah, best believe anything can happen. We talk about the muddy conditions kind of leading us to some surprises, but the dusty conditions more than capable of doing the same thing, and we're getting a taste of that right now here at Mile 7, the FMF PowerPoint. Beautiful facility out here. I know we're talking about the dust, but man, it really is just a crazy facility. You're going to give you some beautiful shots here. The Summit Veteran Reserve, it's got the National Scouting Jamboree. Now, I don't know if you guys are even aware, but we do have 2 Eagle Scouts on our Racer TV crew. I'm going to shout them out, Jordan McFadden and OPAG himself. They've grown up. They've known about this place, talking about, the Scouts. Yeah, we all wanted to come out here, hang out. You can see all the various activities. Might have shredded that skate park earlier this weekend. Not quite like that, but, you know, I was able to stand on it. We've got rock climbing walls. This place has got a little bit of everything.
Even the dust popping out of the mountains from the dirt bikes is beautiful in its own ways.
Oh, no doubt.
Absolutely, yeah. A picturesque scene for sure, and a ton of great stuff going on here. But near and dear to our heart, GNCC Racing, and a huge shout out to obviously the entire Boy Scouts of America Association and the Summit Veteran Reserve for allowing us to come back year after year. And as we take a look at our Yamaha Racing live drone, waiting on our leaders, Great facility, too. I know it's not as glamorous to talk about, but the parking, everything's great.
That's
Everybody
very
knows
true,
exactly
yeah.
where to go. Those are the little details that Mom and Dad appreciate,
yeah,
right?
So to say, if you go to enough races, you talk about really good parking, level parking, sometimes gravel
yeah, wow.
parking, gravel way.
Shower houses.
Shower houses. Yes. This is one, I think if you've not been here, circle it on your 2025 calendar when that schedule comes out and plan to attend. It is a beautiful facility, and when you arrive, I heard Zach talking about it yesterday. Make sure you follow the driving instructions on the GNCC website, because you'll arrive and you haven't really arrived. You got about 15, 20 more minutes before you finally get here.
Yes, we highly suggest downloading the GNCC app.
Yes.
I'm not geographically talented here, folks, and yeah, I spent more time than I'm willing to admit looking for this place last year. It was dark, though. I'm going to use that. So, but nonetheless, I don't think these guys are pulling the app out right now. They know where to go. They're following those arrows, and the battle is on. Jordan Ashburn right on cue. Look at that. The Coastal Racing Gas making his way through, and looks like he has kind of shaken off the tail of Mike Wachowski. We'll see whether or not, or see where Wachowski pops into frame at. Jordan already back off into the woods.
Man, big gap right there. Big advantage for Jordan Ashburn. Ashburn, one of those guys that loves a hard enduro. He is a talented, technical rider. So I feel like this track is right up Jordan Ashburn's alley.
Showing you right there exactly why.
Bingo. He is making that section look very, very easy through the Monster Mile for Jordan Ashburn.
Up on the pegs, really letting the legs and the machine do the work, not getting tossed all around. And actually, funny enough, I don't know if it was Stu's Instagram or possibly the Scholes, who he's obviously a co-owner and trainer at, but Stu really giving some great insight as to the way these riders look at sections like this. One section in our last round pops out to where we had Ben Kelly and Johnny Gerard up on the pegs and talking about, hey, it might be a millisecond or two slower, but it doesn't upset the chassis of the motorcycle. It just goes to show the depth of knowledge that these riders have of their machines and the racecraft itself. Hey, you sacrifice a little bit here to gain a little there.
Just saw Mike Wachowski get through that section as well, and following Jordan Ashburn from your Yamaha Racing live drone. And the number 3 machine. A win eluded Jordan Ashburn earlier this year when we were down in Tennessee, and that was one he wanted. That was literally a stone's throw from home for Jordan Ashburn, and you could kind of tell by that post-race body language, he felt like he let that one get away a little bit, and it has just felt like since then Ashburn has been eagerly trying to fight for his first win of the season. And in a good position right here as we see Wachowski. And Wachowski's another guy. We talked to him pre-race today, and he said, made some adjustments, some suspension adjustments, felt really good about the bike. And he's like, I feel like I would love a win in one of these last 3 rounds, but I feel like I've got a podium. I can get a podium under my belt before the end of the year. And right now he is doing just that.
Well, he's starting things out the right way. I'll tell you what, both of those 2 riders really within the last few rounds have just been rockets off the start, got the timing figured out. Taking a look, I believe that's Evan Smith making his way through the rock garden now. Could Smith have made the pass? I believe he was just behind Josh Strang last we saw, so could he find a way around maybe even Liam Draper? There, look at that. Whoa, wait a second. Stu Baylor.
He smells blood in the water.
Stu's hauling the mail through that. I think all of that slow, methodical you were talking with Stu just went out the window. He is hauling the mail right now, pushing through there. All right, pit stops. Are they coming? Are we going to see some filter changes right here?
This is going to be crucial. Like we said, a lot on the line here. A little bit of hydration for Ashburn. Taking a look ahead. Looks like he's getting a pit board, so no pit yet, it looks like, for the Coastal Racing Gas. But like we said, once again, an exchange of information. Hey, here's the game plan at the next lap. We know exactly what we're doing. They're all ready. Jordan's going to be ready. Now, the question is, we know Stu Baylor loves a good alternate pit strategy, so could we see some of that come into play as well? Looks like that's Wachowski headed towards the pits. Great view here from our live drone shot. Going to see whether or not he heads towards that Phoenix Racing Honda setup. We're staying with him. And looks like he also getting the pit board, letting him know exactly what is going on. So looks like a lot of these riders choosing to bypass the pits here for lap 2. There is Liam Draper, so he is still sitting in that number 3 spot. Looking right at home here in the XC1 field. Next up looks to be Bollinger. So it looks like we missed a few riders there in our last couple of camera shots. So we do still have Liam Draper, Trevin Bollinger, 3rd and 4th.
Quite the day here for Bollinger.
Yeah, I'm telling you what, he is really looking comfortable, and he's got that aggression as well, Jackson.
Yeah.
You know, and that's kind of the thing, the body language. He's up on the pegs, and it looks like he's still digging. He still wants more. So a good showing from Bollinger. That looked like Grant Davis. I don't know. I saw the light blue gear. Him and Gus wearing the same Moose Racing gear right now. But, man, they are that is Grant Davis's riding in a nutshell, basically. A blur. He's going fast.
Sure.
There is
Smith.
That is Smith.
Evan
okay.
Smith. No, is that?
No, that is not. That looks like it'd be.
No, it is Evan Smith. Boy, the number plate sure looked different to me. I almost thought it was a 14 for a second. I'm like, that is not Ruby Barbosa, but.
And there's going to be Strain coming in now, grabbing a ball of water.
And then Stu Baylor. He can see him up ahead. Grab some hydration. Little paddle there as well. Extra horsepower.
Interesting. They did have the IMS out, kind of like, hey, Stu, if you need it, we're here. If you want the filter change, whatever. The team looked ready. And Stu making that call to bypass, as everyone has to this point. So, boy, next time around is going to be a busy, busy, busy pro row.
So we see Ben Kelly, Grant Davis right behind him. Looks to be one of the beta riders. Couldn't quite see the number behind.
Jonathan Johnson?
Yeah, possibly Johnson.
Then we have Gus Reardon checking in. So the Landers boys still up front. Big props to Cody Barnes as well. Once again, finds himself on the podium in your XC2 class. Rode from basically dead last in the first turn in our last round all the way up to the podium. Made it a little easier on himself this time. There is Jonathan Johnson, I believe, after that.
That was
Brody Johnson. Okay.
235. Johnson and Johnson. There you go. Boom.
Ashburn once again, like we said, up off the seat a lot. You see him really kind of maneuvering that gas around, letting the bike do the work.
And still a good gap. Ashburn, man, and Ashburn's such a tough guy to pass as well. So here 2 laps into it, just over the hour mark. Jordan Ashburn sitting in a very, very good position right now. After 2, any change-ups there, Jackson? It's Ashburn, Wachowski, and Draper, I believe, out front for XC1.
Yes, top 3 positions. And then in XC1 is going to be Trevor Bollinger in the 4th place position. Then it's going to be Evan Smith holding on to 5th in class. However, they're going to be down on the overall as the XC2 riders, Grant Davis, Gus Reardon, and Cody Barnes have got their self 5th through 7th.
So there you go. No XC2 guys up in that top 3, at least for now. I'm not saying it's not going to be possible. There goes Bollinger right there through the Monster Mile. But maybe Dust spreading these guys out just a little bit makes it a little more difficult for our XC2 guys to be up in that mix, but nonetheless still in a good position, well inside the top 10.
Give you some rundowns of what our times are. Ashburn going to be in the lead by 31 seconds, 16 seconds from Wachowski. In the 2nd place position, back to Draper, and then 12 seconds from Draper back to your 4th place rider, Bollinger. So a pretty big gap there that we're seeing from Ashburn and Wachowski. 31 seconds, 31.4 seconds going to separate the top 2 riders.
Well, and to your point, Jackson, I think majority, if not more of that, was actually made on the first lap, as those guys really put in the work early, and it's paying off for them. There we see, looks like that is Evan Smith on the 347. I want to see his other side number plate, because I thought that looked like a different number.
I'm with you on that.
I may not have the best vision here, but
the jersey is what gave me.
Look at this, side by side.
Look at that.
Oh, Stu Baylor pulling up alongside Josh Strang.
And Stu knows what's on the line here. He is not going to take it easy.
No, without a doubt. Obviously, the intensity is there, literally side by side. Looks like they've made their way around Rui Barbosa. Rui still holding strong, though, not letting that duo ride away from them quite yet. Ben Kelly, also another rider you see very frequently up on the pegs, letting the bike do the work. And Grant Davis is glued
right there with him,
right there to the back wheel.
Just hanging with Johnny Gerard right now. And Gerard honestly doing a good job of kind of remaining calm in a situation where things weren't going his way early. You got to come away from the day with some points and be in the positive.
Yeah, we'll see, because we've got the Kelly Davis duo, and then it looked like Gerard was kind of just starting to catch up. I believe he was just behind Ansley the last time we saw, so we'll see whether or not he can get up to this mix, but eventually he's going to start running into faster and faster riders. It's going to be a little bit harder to find ways around. There we see the 235 of Brody Johnson.
Yep. Just that Reardon checked in through our camera shot here. Barnes, both the Johnsons checking in.
Good ride for the Johnsons as well. Got to think, best riders in the world, you know, from all over the globe, and I'm still riding with my brother.
Yeah.
Just, you know, just the way it goes. And shout out to the dust fleas this weekend.
Yeah, that's true. They
the
have
fans
the dust fleas
hanging out there, helping the riders, picking people up off the ground. Always more than happy to lend a helping hand. Toby Cleveland making his way through on the 213. And back to your leader, Jordan Ashburn, charging hard up the hill.
And right now, at least to this point, Ashburn's not really had to deal with the lap traffic. We know that's coming, but Ashburn doing a great job of charging right now and just, hey, spread this out as much as you can. And Witkowski, Draper, Bollinger. There is Mike Witkowski, the 282 machine, moving through the FMF PowerPoint.
Be curious to see whether or not Witkowski's able to move forward at all. He's kind of in no man's land. Doesn't have any immediate pressure for the moment, though. Liam Draper seems to be closing that gap up. But we talk about it's always tough to run that pace when you don't have anything to judge or gauge off of. Then we've got Bollinger. Might have fallen back just a little bit from Draper, but still charging hard in the 4th place position. And, you know, we talked about not only being a part of the XC1 field, but being in the mix. Liam Draper got on the podium in his XC1 debut. He's running in the top 3 right now. We were able to catch up with him.
Yeah, definitely. You know, it was sitting on the start line pretty nervous, but to get a whole shot and lead those boys for 2 laps was pretty cool. So hopefully pull a whole shot today would be a great start. And I told Johnny earlier, I said I ain't pulling over this weekend. So yeah, it was a good start to my XC1, and yeah, we're just using these last 4 to learn and get ready for next year. Yeah, it's going to be tough. I think we're going to be split pretty quickly. There's going to be big gaps, I think, personally. But hopefully not in these bike-only sections. Maybe we can bunch back up, and I think that'll be the places to pass. But, yeah, whole shot, and then you won't have to worry about it.
Great to hear there from Liam Draper. I'm sorry. You did see Lyndon Snodgrass up on the top of your screen. He looked to be out of this one. They had that machine put up on the stand. This is quickly turning into a survival type race as well. The bike's got to make it just like the rider does. And unfortunately, looks like the day is over early for Lyndon Snodgrass. There you see on the 178. Tough luck, because Lyndon also been having some really solid rides, been relatively consistent as well. Unfortunately, it's just one of those things with GNCC Racing.
Yeah, Fred Andrews down there, team manager with that machine, and no signs of Lyndon Snodgrass. So I'm sure he's around there somewhere. I think Jackson Burrell heading down to see if he can get a word in with those guys.
Looked like they were taking the tank off that machine, guys. So you got to wonder, you know, wouldn't be an air filter related issue with the tank. They could be trying to get to the throttle body. They could be trying to get to electrical components. They could be trying to get to the engine in and of itself. We did hear, obviously Jackson gave us some updates on what was going on with Johnny Gerard, with, you know, looking like he was removing the clutch system, pulling the whole thing out. So I mean, it's just a lot of wild happenings here in only 2 laps of racing. Things we don't normally see in a full 3-hour race have panned out here in an hour and 14 minutes. Good for some and not so good for others.
Yeah, still very early, Johnny, and we saw every single, at least the ones we saw, XC1 rider bypassing the pits. It looked like a few of the teams had the IMS quick fills ready if that rider opted to pull in, but from what we saw, everyone bypassing. So next time around, that pit going to be a very busy place.
Yeah, very busy, and I had stepped out here, and Jackson joined you guys, but I was watching some racing outside. I'm sure you've talked about it, but man, are things starting to tighten up at the front. What was a 2-rider runaway, now obviously Liam Draper and Trevor Bollinger both chipped away at that gap. What was a 1 minute and 17-second gap from second back to third, just in the XC1 class, and then we obviously had some big gaps there when it came to the overall. Now down to only 16 seconds, and 31 seconds from Jordan Ashburn back to Mike Witkowski there in the number 2 spot. So as much as the dust has been a factor, as much as the, you know, we talked about the one-line track, the bike issues, it all seemingly coming together and creating some what will soon be wheel-to-wheel racing here if things continue to trend the direction that they are.
That's it. Just saw Nick DeFeo roll through the FMF PowerPoint right there. Heard you guys talking about him earlier. Dude, he's one of those guys that's just hungry and wants to win. I can't help but think back to his youth days where he was battling against...
And that is Gavin Simon, second place in the 258 class.
Right there, hangs on. But he was battling with, I believe it was Cole Forbes back in the day, and Cole Forbes just kept getting the better of him. Just kept finishing in first place, and Nick DeFeo was just right behind him in second every round. And you could just see how dejected and how much he wanted it. And Nick DeFeo kind of turned things around the next year and moved in the right direction. But I think Nick's been one of those guys that just, he's kind of got that dog in him, for lack of a better term, a little cliche right there, but yeah.
There's your championship points leader on screen, the 969 of Gerard. Again, we are still continuing. So we're being told by OPAG, our producer Adam Gordon, about 5 minutes behind the leader. But the big thing to watch for him today is we're going to have to start watching exactly where he's at in the overall. So we're going to scroll down here right now, only seeing the top 20. So as we scroll a little further, 28th overall, but with a lap time of 32:13. Running upwards of a minute faster than all of the riders in front of him that are not inside the top 20. So we are likely going to see him jump up very close to, if not into, the top 20 overall with once we see our third lap of racing complete here. So we'll keep an eye on that. We'll keep doing the math. Obviously, Stu Baylor putting in a big charge, working himself much further up. Lap number 1 was running in the 19th place position overall, and now he is up into the 14th place overall with 2 laps complete. So again, still those XC2 guys and the 250A guys really kind of throwing a wrench in the plan for Stu Baylor and Johnny Gerard, trying to kind of mano-a-mano settle this championship battle. Whole bunch of riders saying, hey man, we don't care about you guys. We got a chance to do well today. We're taking these spots.
And we saw, Johnny, while you were out, we saw Stu Baylor charging hard at Josh Strang. A little side-by-side. Strang was able to close the door on him, but obviously Stu Baylor, sense of urgency in him. He needs every single position he can pick up today, and if he can get into that bonus point area, you know he wants that.
Yeah, absolutely. Sitting in 14th, he stands to pick up 7 points as they run on Johnny Gerard, taking a 53-point gap down to 46 is what that would be. But again, still, he wants more. He needs more. If he wants to get himself back in this fight, that's what he needs to do.
Yes.
Well, guys, this is definitely getting exciting. Here's what we know so far, all right? We've got Jordan Ashburn out front. There you see. Oh, that's Stu Baylor. Jordan Ashburn out front. We've got Johnny Gerard having some issues. There is Jordan Ashburn out front leading the way. Johnny Gerard having some issues, working his way from the back. This is a huge opportunity for Stu Baylor to make up some big points. He's got to go right now. Johnny Gerard is back out on the charge. Question is, how far up is he going to be able to work? Stu Baylor riding like a man possessed, hanging on for dear life. We're going to get a word from our sponsors, and we'll be back with the Mountaineer GNCC.
I'm Stu Baylor, and you're watching GNCC Live on RacerTV.com.
We've been there since the very beginning.
20 laps, the main event, the Mud, the Blood, the Beer.
Organizing the industry and building champions. "100 years of defending your rights to ride into the future."
Community, family, teamwork. It's what we have stood on for over a decade.
Hauling might be what we do at the surface, but it's much deeper than that, because what you need matters. When you need a haul, give us a call at 724-852-4488. For 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and 365 days a year, we at JD Enterprises are prepared to serve you.
It takes commitment, passion, and endurance to make something great. Made by champions, for champions.
I'm Stu Baylor.
Hello, everybody,
and you're
and
watching
welcome back.
GNCC Live on RacerTV.com.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the 2024 Rocky Mountain ATVMC Mountaineer GNCC. And we're going to throw it straight down to Jackson Burrell, who is standing by with Lyndon Snodgrass not having the day that he was hoping for.
Yeah, guys, I'm down here at the Babbitts Kawasaki rig with Doug. Doug, could you tell us a little more about the 178 machine?
Yeah, unfortunately, Lyndon had some problems right in the very first lap there, so we're not quite sure what happened with this bike. The reports from Fred and Joe out in the field is that it sounded like it was sputtering, so we were prepared to change an air filter and a few other possibilities. We're preparing for the pit, but obviously Lyndon never made it around, and then ultimately we had to go out and get his bike. So Lyndon's safe and healthy. It's just it's a bike problem that we're trying to diagnose, but at this point in time, he is out of the race.
All right, Doug, thank you for the information. Back up to you guys.
Hey, thanks, Jackson, and thanks to Doug. They're doing a great job of keeping us informed. We appreciate it, letting us know what's going on. And, yeah, obviously that entire Babbitts team working hard to try to find a way to get Lyndon back out there. Got some good racing right there headed towards the finish line. Not sure who those two riders were, but they were going for it.
Hey, man, you know, it's dusty. You're not going to give up an inch of anything on the racetrack. You're going to, like we talked about, on those starts, man, elbows. Trying to get the elbows in front of the other guy's elbows so you can control the racetrack, and these guys are doing just the same. We might be 2 laps approaching now, soon to be 3 laps complete. It's still fighting for real estate on the racetrack and everybody wanting to absolutely get themselves in front so they don't have to eat that dust.
Taking a look here, you can see this 180 right here. This simple corner, honestly, it's a flat corner, has given a lot of riders issues. Several of them have actually gone down right here in this corner.
Well, you know, you say that, Zach. I mean, it's so slick. It's just, there's no grip right there. It's just very, very hard pack. And it's they're just fighting for grip. As they lean the bike over, they get onto those side knobs, and it's just so hard to stay upright. If you watch those starts, obviously XC1, XC2, most of the guys got through unscathed, but when you got further back into those other classes, it was just carnage in the first, second, and third turns. Very, very slick there.
So let me ask you, like, slickness. I noticed this on the first turn out of the start. Guys kind of sliding out. Is a whole track like that, or was that just kind of the starting line?
I mean, there's definitely sections of the track that are like that. Yeah, for sure. So what this is you know, we talk about strip ground. We ride where I actually can't say that this was ever strip ground. I don't know that.
I don't know either.
But we know that this property was obviously plateaued or benched off for this. So, you know, there's not great dirt in this part of West Virginia. It's a lot of rock. So what dirt they can find, they kind of stack up. When it's out in a field like this, it's just exposed to the sun, the wind, the elements, and it's just been beaten down. Those pesky track packing quads yesterday for 2 hours. Well, actually, if you add all the races together, you know, about 6 hours of ATV races yesterday on that, and it just polishes it slick. Yeah. And then it sits in the sun, you know, windy all night, sits in the sun all morning, and when those guys get out there, they try to put some water on top of it, but it's a lot like, you know, adding ice to the top of a road. You're kind of just slipping around. But these guys know. I mean, it's part of GNCC. They're trying to keep the dust down. When that dust dries or that water dries up, it doesn't really get any tackier. It's just a different kind of slick. So it can be very very deceiving, very challenging. Certain parts of this track, though, tons of grip. This is one thing that always frustrated me about this place was, you know, one section of racetrack, ton of grip. You're fighting the handlebars. You know, the bike's just pulling and tugging at you, and then you go a mile further, and it's like you're skating on ice. And it's really inconsistent grip throughout this Mountaineer facility.
Yeah, that makes sense. I'm with you now.
A couple rolling rocks, and not the kind that you opened.
Right. Man, does anybody still drink those? My goodness.
Now we replaced him with monsters.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, there we go. Product placement. Jordan Ashburn ripping through the FMF PowerPoint. Let's see what that gap is back to Wachowski, or is it going to be Draper and Bollinger? Both of those guys applying the pressure.
Draper really on the charge, but it is still Wachowski there in the number 2 spot on the 282. Phoenix Racing Honda, and what a day for him, man. If he's able to hang on and put this on the podium, having 2 first-time podium finishers in 2 days would be very exciting. Both young guys, newer to the XC1 class. Now we see the 198 of Liam Draper, and he's got a shadow. Maybe not. Thought it was Trevor Bollinger, but I don't know that it is.
No,
it is not. Lapped rider. There he is, though.
But not too far behind, yeah.
The 739, a renaissance ride for him. Haven't seen him up front doing battle much this season, but today he is looking good.
And we talked about these different conditions. I mean, I know this is only my second year with the series, but we haven't really seen a lot of these. I can only think of one real duster that I've even seen just here in person. So we talk about the mindset. I think it was you, Johnny, that said yesterday, as much as setting goggles and machines up, you got to set your mind up to deal with these kind of conditions. Seemed like Trevor is ready to come out swinging, even in the blinding dust.
Absolutely. Mindset is huge. In inclement conditions, both ends of the spectrum. If you think you're going to do well in the mud, you probably will. You think you're going to do well in the dust, you probably will. And that's something. We've had so much action, I didn't really get to say it, but multiple times today I've wanted to say, Jordan Ashburn, Mikey, we've always, we'll go ahead and give up the joke. Jordan likes the mud. That's a saying we've had for a long time, but Jordan likes the adverse conditions.
Yeah.
Jordan is very tough. I actually, Evan Smith on screen there in the number 5 spot, I've actually would argue that Jordan has probably had more good dust races over the years than he has mud races. And it's just, he's very mentally strong. He continues to push himself even when things aren't necessarily going his way, which they're very much going his way today. I think he just does well when it gets tough. There's Rui Barbosa.
Where is Stu?
Stu, I was just about to say, we saw him side by side. There's Grant Davis.
Yep. Oh.
So problems possibly for Stu Baylor.
Is that Gerard?
That is Kelly.
Ben Kelly.
Ben Kelly, the 530.
So Davis got around Kelly finally. They were pretty much neck and neck for what seemed like an entire lap.
There is Angus Reardon, second place in that XC2 class. We should be looking, watching for Jonathan Johnson.
Cody
Barnes there in the number 3 spot.
So yeah, the last time we saw Stu,
that was Jonathan.
Johnson. Last time we saw Stu, he was trying to make a pass on Strang.
Yeah. So and a grown man move, as you would say, Mikey.
Yes.
And I mean,
it
don't
was
get me wrong.
I need my points. I'm going to do what I need to do.
Stu's a big boy, but Josh Strang, no slouch either. Not necessarily the person I'd want to be rubbing elbows with. So maybe did not go Stu's way, as we still are yet to see the 514.
And we do always have to say, as we wait and watch, there is now Brody Johnson would be 5th place in that XC2 class. We do have camera pans here, and sometimes we toggle from one shot to the next. We have, we do a great job of following the racing action here, but it is possible to miss riders. Don't want to throw alarm to anyone, but we have not seen Stu Baylor on screen, at least, come by at the 7-mile marker. We'll continue to wait and watch and see if we see Stu. Has he fallen back? Did we miss him on a camera shot? We'll have him again coming up here at the 10-mile marker again very soon, so we should be able to kind of recheck the running order when they come by there. But if that is the case, that's a whole nother can of worms that's just been opened up on a day that's already been befuddling for a lot of these guys, to say the least. Everybody thinks that hey, I'm going to make up some big points. Oh no, I'm going to lose some points, and then 20 seconds later, shake it up, change it all again. There is Nick DeFeo, followed very, very closely by that's Toby Cleveland.
Yep.
So leaders due in here. We got a minute, right? I don't think our time due in not quite correct.
Yeah, it won't be an hour 7.
No, it should be a little sooner than that.
Leaders doing soon. They're at the 7-mile marker. They've got about 4 miles of racing action. There is Gavin Simon, 2nd place in that 250A. Last he had checked in was around the number 9 spot overall the previous lap.
Gerard.
They're up into 6th. And there is Johnny Gerard coming through. So now he's up to Simon, who is running 9th place overall uncorrected time. But keep in mind, Johnny Gerard maybe made up a little bit of time. I don't know if that was 5 minutes from Jordan, but we can ask OPAG to check that. But he doesn't really necessarily need to make up time on the leaders. I mean, sure, he wants to, but the main thing is he needs to start chipping away, getting ever so much closer. 28th overall is what he was running at the completion of lap number 2. He needs to start chipping away at those positions. Is that...
That's JoJo Cunningham.
You know, where are we going to see him slot in the running order? I really think he's going to be very close to getting into the top 20 overall.
About an hour and a half in to the Mountaineer GNCC. Jordan Ashburn has been just about perfection. Mike Wachowski, solid. Liam Draper behind him.
4:11. Gavin Hampton making his way through.
Yeah, a little head nod to Racer TV.
He saw the camera. He said, I'm going to spend a little extra time here, get these sponsors some love.
We got him a shout out in there. We didn't just call him a lapper this time. This is XC1 guys moving around him. How's for you, Don? We got you, buddy. So still waiting at mile marker 7 through the FMF PowerPoint.
And you know what's so funny about that is we were even talking with Gavin, and I mean, Gavin, he does a lot of local races. Yeah. He's one of the top guys. Gavin is no slouch on a motorcycle. It just shows the level that these guys are on. It's just the 1% of the 1%. There we saw Jack Walker making his way through. And just like we said, we were going to see a lot of distance. A rider here, then a gap, and then a rider there, and then another gap. And so certainly playing out that way right now. And
that looked like Cole Whitmer possibly there from the Open A class, but Jack Walker is leading the way, or was leading the way in that FMF XC3. The next rider in line was Dakota DeVore on that 526 KTM machine, so we'll keep an eye out for him. Cool when we get some of these longer shots to get some love back for that XC3 class.
Yeah, curious if you've got time in the scoring, where is Kita Watanabe at, one of our JNCC racers?
I'm going to let you pronounce that, but that young man with that name from Japan, Kita Watanabe.
I was close.
He is in the 6th place spot in that XC3 class. With 2 laps complete, he's 4 minutes 55 seconds behind Tyler Shields, who is in the 5th place spot. So settling in, getting his legs under him. I know some of our visiting JNCC riders actually did do pretty well this morning.
I think took a win, right, in the Sportsman B 45 plus.
Yeah.
Yep. Kazuhiro Yoshizaki is the guy who took the win in Sportsman B. And
kudos to you, Zach.
Hey, well, I've only read them a couple hundred times this weekend because we're pumped to have them out here.
Yeah,
honestly, we had Yoshi and the entire crew out there. They were right by us at the finish line, smiles from ear to ear. You could see the dust around it. They were having a great time. So very cool. Obviously, our very own Jared Bolton goes over there. He enjoys the JNCC series, has a great time, and cool to have them come and check out how we do things here in the US of A, and showing that they can run with us as well.
You know, and I'm going to go ahead and throw it out there into the universe. For many years, there's been a lot of people going over and participating. We do kind of that foreign exchange student program. I wouldn't mind. I mean, I go race a dirt bike in Japan. I'd be happy to buy my own flight.
Think they need an announcer?
I can arrange a dirt bike there. I know some people. I would love to go. So what do you think, Mikey? You guys want to go?
I've been preaching that one.
What's the second part of that?
Day one.
That's all I got. Amigo or something.
No, I actually took like a little semester of Japanese in middle school. Konnichiwa Bokowa Mike Desu, and I think that's like hello, my name is Mike.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so I think I've got that much dialed. So
Konnichiwa
Bokowa Mike Desu, and I think
I was going to switch it to John
and you or something like that.
Oh, very cool.
Well, you can be named Mike too. I don't know, man.
All right, leader on screen. That is your Japanese lesson for today, folks. But giving lessons on a dirt bike right now, Jordan Ashburn out front on that Coastal Racing gas, making it look relatively easy, dare we say. A lot of riders have encountered problems. Jordan Ashburn just kind of chugging along out front, opening up a gap over Mike Wachowski in the number 2 spot after wrestling the lead away about a lap and a half ago, and he is still continuing to lead. Now starting to get pretty thick in some lack of traffic, but really looking smooth up on the pegs, carrying his speed through that rock garden, and making it look pretty easy.
Yeah, Ashburn, he's had that advantage too, right? Being out front, he's had clean air. Let's use the cliche because it's certainly appropriate today. Now he's going to start sucking in a little bit of that dust with the lap traffic, but nothing like what our riders in 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th are facing, battling in those XC1 classes. Mike Wachowski, bike still looks clean for him as well, sitting in that 2 spot.
Well, and that was a great shot as far as the difference in speed. Obviously, it's one thing to find find a way around a much slower lap rider. But when you don't see them coming until the last second, it adds a whole new challenge. So just goes to show how quickly these top riders are catching up to the back end of the pack.
And there is Liam Draper continuing to make ground, getting ever so much closer to the back of the Phoenix Racing Honda of Mike Witkowski. He's on a charge, putting in an absolute burner of a ride 2 weeks ago in his XC1 debut and looking to back it up here today, fighting for another podium position.
Liam just been stellar through, a race and a half so far in the XC1 class. Might be one of those things, man, Liam, you should have done this at the start of the season, man. This has been great.
I actually ran into Liam's mechanic at SMX last weekend in Charlotte. We were chatting a little bit, and he was just talking about how really they feel that Liam getting onto that 450 this year,
starting to for it.
Yeah, and they said it just really suits his riding style. A lot of people rave, being a Blue Crew guy, go ahead and throw it out there. You know, the Yamaha 250 bike of the year. Many times with many of the shootouts, they say, "Oh, that 250 is so good." Liam obviously winning a championship on that machine last year for the Ampro Yamaha team. But when he got on the 450, they were like, "Hey, somehow he's riding this bike way better than the 250 with very little experience, and he's just continued to get smoother and better the more time he spends on the bike." Really suits his riding style.
Love that.
There we see Mike Witkowski coming through there, still in the number 2 spot. The 198 of Draper up on the pegs, charging. Got some lap traffic in the way, but just smoothly picking his way through there. And it looked like possibly there back in the distance was the 739 of Trevor Bollinger as well. We'll see when these guys check in very soon here with what will be 3 laps complete. But they also are going to make some pit stops here. Jordan Ashburn working his way towards VP Fuels Pro Row now.
So here we go. How are pit stops going to go? Are we going to see filter changes, etc.? Do you think, Johnny, maybe Jordan's a guy that can bypass a filter change right now with the lead he's had?
I mean, I think any of them could if they're up front, but I think it's ultimately going to come down to what the crew tells them to do. We'll find out here in a matter of about 3-2, and the fact that they're pulling under there leads me to believe that they're going to do a filter change, and they are filter out. New one already going in. And looking like they're already putting the cover on.
That's
so
good.
not much time for an air filter change there. Shout out to his mechanic. That was a very, very, very fast air filter change.
You could actually put the NASCAR air hose sounds over that. That was so quick.
That was good.
Witkowski. And that just adds the pressure as well. If you want a chance to make up some time, everybody's got to be firing on all cylinders. Looks like they are not.
No air filter change for Mike Witkowski. Just fuel, goggles, a little wet towel around the neck. Liam Draper making the pass momentarily in. Looks like they're doing some more things up under the tank there. It looks like maybe taking a look at the air filter. Nope. It was just, they may have taken a quick peek at it. You can just pop the cover there and look. But I know they had quite a bit of confidence coming into today. Trevor Bollinger in and out of the Rockstar Husky pits. Don't know if he took an air filter. Obviously, we were watching that pit with Liam Draper, and we will wait and we'll watch. Those are your top 4 through VP Fuels Pro Row. 1 air filter out of the top 4.
And honestly, easy to say this now, right? But Jordan Ashburn, that crew, Coastal Racing Gas, I think that was a right call. He had a really good gap between him and second. Why not bring it in, change the filter? We get one more little advantage, and they didn't know that the other guys were not going to change the filter. But
and we don't know that Trevor Bollinger did not change a filter. We just know that Mike Witkowski and also Liam Draper did not change a filter. So again, we were kind of expecting that based on the pre-race strategy that we had heard. Now we do see on screen
Evan Smith
coming through in that number 5 spot. I think he pits near the Husky tent. Oh, he's pitting at the end of the Rocky Mountain ATV MC, kind of there at the end of Stu's pit, it looks like. Don't see. Yep, somebody's down there next to the machine. Looks like doing an air filter.
Grant Davis in as well.
Yep, Davis stopping.
Yep, we got an air filter change for Evan Smith. We've got an air filter change for Grant Davis. Now, again, Josh Strang, no air filter change. In and gone, makes the...
Right behind Evan Smith.
Maybe he made the pass. Hard to tell there. Grant Davis, this one taking a little longer, but still a pretty quick change. In and out, maybe an extra 8-10 seconds. Now we see Rui Barbosa in. Just fuel and goggles for Rui.
Now, obviously, Rui, like you said, not getting an air filter. If the air filter starts to become a problem, what is it that the rider is going to be looking for? Is it a lack of power? It can start bogging down.
Most likely, it can be a few things. Lack of power, but it can also be kind of that spitting and sputtering sensation where the bike just starts to run really rich because you're getting more fuel than you are air. Cody Barnes now in and out. Keeping in mind, the Austrian bikes, the Husky, the KTM, the Gas, they have that quick change filter cover. Angus Reardon in and out also with an air filter change. They don't have to remove anything else from the bike. They just pull that cover, pop the filter out, pop a new one in. I believe, I haven't worked on a newer Honda, but I'm pretty certain it's still the traditional setup as the Kawasaki is, where it's under the seat. So they actually have to remove the 2 seat bolts. Rider would have to get off the machine and step aside. They would remove the seat and then make the air filter change under the seat, put the seat back on, put the bolts in. They can still do it quickly, but not quite as quickly as some of the other brands. The Yamaha, completely separate setup with that backwards motor. It actually sits up where the fuel tank, quote unquote, would be. It's actually the air filter and the airbox setup on the Yamaha. So they, again, just have a quick cover. They pop. It's right there. The rider doesn't have to move. So different setups, different bikes. A lot of these bikes are made without that thought of, hey, why would you ever need to change a filter during a race? Where obviously now Trevor Bollinger has actually gotten around. He is up into. Did we miss? It was Liam Draper.
We saw Draper. We must have missed Ashburn and Wachowski.
Well, I saw Wachowski there. It looked like Draper may have gotten around Wachowski on camera there.
So we could have some more shakeups. It was a battle. There we see Johnny Gerard in the pits now. An air filter change for him as well.
And we did get word 5-lap race for us here. So again, a 5-lap race.
So we're just a few moments away from Johnny Gerard checking in to find out, and that's another rider we're waiting to see. Where is Stu Baylor? He still has not come through. So we're going to get an update as these riders checking in with now 3 laps complete. Looks like we have our top 12 overall checked in, and it is Jordan Ashburn, Mike Wachowski, Liam Draper, Trevor Bollinger, Grant Davis, Jonathan Johnson, Cody Barnes, Angus Reardon, the big loser in that exchange there in the pits with that filter change. He dropped all the way back to the number 8 spot overall and would put him back to 2, 3, 4th place in that XC2 class. Then it's Evan Smith, Josh Strang, Brody Johnson, and Ben Kelly. Rui Barbosa now checked in the 13th place spot overall, looking like still just those top 13 overall checked in. Still no Stu Baylor, still no Johnny Gerard, but we do know Johnny Gerard has worked his way over and should be checking in just about any moment with 3 laps complete.
We just saw Evan Smith, Josh Strang, and Grant Davis rolling through. There goes Gerard.
That was Ben Kelly.
Oh, that was Kelly.
Yep.
That's twice I've done that now.
Same Alpine Star gear.
Yeah,
it's okay.
Yeah.
There's Rui Barbosa. And it did look like Evan Smith got the best of that elbow-to-elbow battle there between himself and Strang. So Evan Smith fighting for every inch, even out of Pro Row. And like you said, Gus Reardon losing some time. There you see Cody Barnes making a way around. Now, obviously, Cody did not take an air filter. Gus did. And so working in favor of the Phoenix Honda right now, but Gus already working to try to catch back up to him.
Guys, update, live scoring. Johnny Gerard checked in 17th place overall. Now, he is still going to continue to fall back additional positions as those XC2 and 250A riders do expect to see him up higher than he was 28th last lap. That said, one thing we do know, he has checked in with 3 laps complete. Stu Baylor has not. So now the points battle for that championship here in 2024 swings back the other way. Stu Baylor was making up points. Johnny Gerard now potentially back in a position where he could clinch today if he can stretch an additional 7 points on Stu Baylor. 53 points coming into the day. He needs to leave here with 60 to clinch the title and be crowned your 2024 GNCC overall champion.
Man, on a wild day, that would be something else. And we got word. Sounds like we've still not seen Stu Baylor come through the pits, and it sounded like his pit area, bit of a ghost town. So where those guys are out and about, not sure. As soon as we know something, find something out, we will relay that information. But Stu Baylor doing his Where's Waldo right now. No good.
Keeping us on our toes, that's for sure.
Yes, always.
And talk about, I mean, the highs and the lows of the sport, but of the day even.
Guys got an update from, I guess I shouldn't say who it's from, but from someone who would very much be in the know. He didn't say I could say. He said, update, Stu has a hole in his engine case.
Oh, no.
You know, I was curious. We saw how aggressively he was riding that machine, and we say it all the time.
Gerard.
There is Gerard on screen. Stu is tough, but is the bike able to handle how aggressive he is with it, especially with these rocks? Man, that's a heartbreaker.
Yeah, that's and that comes from someone very close and very much in the know. Not trying to be cryptic, but we don't like to share information like that.
Totally
It's from
fair.
someone at his team.
Okay.
So that is a very reliable information. Gutted for Stu Baylor today.
That sucks.
That's man. We've
somebody really trying to get our camera operator's attention there. Now he's stabled out.
All right. One thing that has not stabled out is the dust. Still dusty. Still a lot of battles out there. Folks, we're giving you the updates as they come in, and a gut-wrenching update for Stu Baylor fans in the position still fighting for this XC1 title and overall title here in 2024. We are told hole in his engine case, was not told out of the race, but hole in the engine case, barring some type of really MacGyver fix, would be likely the end of the day.
I don't know if duct tape's going to work for that one.
No. Yeah, that's an absolute heartbreaker for Stu. Stu's no secret, Johnny. We've been around him for a number of years. I was there 2017, his very first XC1 podium at the Big Buck, and that is a man that what?
His first win came at Big Buck.
First win, yeah, and also I think maybe first, it was his first win. It was my very first race. It was Stu's first win. But nonetheless, that is a man that eats, breathes, and sleeps racing a dirt bike, and nothing, I think, means more to him. His family, obviously, but racing is up there for Stu. He wants a championship so bad, and it just seems like one heartbreak after another for him. And here's another one today.
We saw that heartbreak last year at our previous round at the Buckwheat, where he got in an argument with the tent pole.
Yes.
And not making light of that situation, but to point that out, passion.
But that's
the man has
exactly
a passion for the sport.
Yeah.
I've said it so many times on the show, all heart. That was his nickname when he's young. He never gives up. We saw it again today. A bad start, having to check up. Ricky Russell down on the ground. Didn't want to run his buddy Ricky over all the way to the back of XC1. Charging, trying to work his way up. We saw him all the way back, almost outside the top 20 in 19th. The next lap, he was in 14th. We saw him up battling in the mix, looking like he was closer to well inside the top 10, and then he disappears. Very, very unfortunate chain of events. We'll get that official update if we can, but for right now, we're told Stu Baylor, hole in his engine cases, likely, unfortunately, done for the day, meaning back on the table. Again, if Johnny Gerard can score just 7 points today, he would need to have a 14th place overall. If my math is correct, we can have OPAG check that out for us. That would be what he needs to put the clinches on this 2024 overall GNCC title here today at round number.
And honestly, the flip of that is what a strange day for Johnny Gerard if he is able to make that happen, where it's not a Gerard-like race for him. Still finishes with what he needs to get the job done. But he has said from the start of this season, winning is awesome, but my eyes are on the big picture, and I think that would be a big picture kind of win for him if it does come into play later today.
Eyes on the prize in the big picture. Nick DeFeo. There, see, it looks like, was that
was
Johnny Gerard, who's now all the way up to Nick DeFeo, who's running 6th place in the overall. Again, big time correction between those two. And it's, with Nick DeFeo still running solid lap times, not far off the guys that are, battling inside the top 5 for the overall, sitting there in that 6th place spot, well inside the top 10. So a great day for him. Our producer, Adam Gordon, OPAG, has confirmed, I believe he said, Adam, you can come in and talk, or not, let me hear. Yep, 14th overall would give him the position and the points that he would need to have 60 points. He would have more wins than Stu would be able to mass. That is the tiebreaker if they are tied. So therefore, Johnny Gerard would clinch the title today with a 14th place overall finish. Not 14th place in XC1. It needs to be a 14th place overall. Currently, as we update, he is running in
18th.
Well, he was 18th, but he may drop down more because I don't think. Oh, nope. Now Hunter Smith and Jack Walker have checked in with 3 laps complete. So the top 30 have checked in with 3 laps complete. So Johnny Gerard confirmed 18th place overall as they run. So he needs to make up 4 more spots. The riders in front of him, Toby Cleveland, Jojo Cunningham, Rui Barbosa. He basically needs to get to the position that his teammate, Ben Kelly, is in to potentially lock up this title today. There is Trevor Bollinger. He has made the pass and is up into 3rd. Look at this. He is now on a podium. Trevor Bollinger on a mission here today, guys.
How about that? We thought it was going to be Liam Draper chasing down Mike Wachowski, and now it looks like Bollinger has made the pass.
Oh, just got a report. Sounds like we got Stu Baylor getting towed back to the pits right now.
And unfortunately, due to our rules, we can confirm that that does end his day. Once you are hooked to and towed, you are done for the day here at GNCC Racing, and that is a bummer of a set of events for Stu Baylor. That not those rocks can, they can work to your advantage or they can work against you. And today, just not working out for Stu Baylor. We'll see. I think the guys are having a little Rochambeau to see who's going to go try and interview Stu Baylor. Understandably, guys, I'm sure he'll be upset, but he is a professional.
That's it, yeah.
So he gets it. He knows he's not going to want to talk, but at the same time, if we can just get an official update, make it quick. Don't pester the man. Give him some time.
Yeah,
but we do like to get this update for the viewers at home to let them know in the rider's own words, in the team's own words. So we're not speculating.
That's right.
We're not trying to create drama here on the show and go look for these guys when they're upset or hurt or their bikes are broken. We just want to hear it from the horse's mouth.
And Stu's the kind of guy, like Stu knows the business, right? Stu understands that sometimes your day is absolute crap and you got to go explain it. Sometimes your day is amazing and you get to go explain that. Stu's always done a great job with us. We appreciate that, Stu. All right, we're going to take a short commercial break right now. Jordan Ashburn absolutely hauling the mail out front. He has done everything right. He's got a fresh filter in that machine. Can Johnny Gerard get up to the number 14 spot and clinch this national championship here with GNCC? Trevor Bollinger, hello to silly season, having a sensational ride. All that and more right after a word from our sponsors. We'll be right back.
When I take the bike out like this, all my stresses just melt away.
I hear that. This bad boy can fix anything.
Yep, tough day at work. Nice cruiser sort you right out.
When I'm riding, I'm not even thinking about my painful cavity.
Oh, you shouldn't ignore that.
And every time I get stressed about having to pay my bills, I just hop on the bike, man.
Oh, come on, man. You gotta pay your bills.
You don't have to worry about anything when you're protected by America's #1 motorcycle insurer.
Well, you definitely do. Those things aren't related, so...
Oh, that is a vibrating pain.
Every generation believes they've invented the best way. With age comes wisdom. We've come to realize that every piece of knowledge is learned, passed down from those generous and patient enough to teach.
Take a look.
Legacy. It's not about leaving something behind to be remembered by. It's realizing that the future lies within the next generation.
Let's call it a night. All right.
The nature of true progress is humbly building something bigger than yourself. Rocky Mountain ATV MC. This is our legacy.
Whatever you drive, however you drive. AMSOIL specially engineers lubricants to maximize power, performance, and protection in your vehicles, so you can work hard and play hard with confidence. Order online at amsoil.com.
Progressive GNCC Racing is brought to you by Progressive. Progressive could save you hundreds of dollars on your automobile and motorcycle insurance. Specialized e-turbo bicycles. It's you, only faster. RockyMountainATVMC.com. Get ready. And welcome back to GNCC Live here on RacerTV.com, the Rocky Mountain ATV MC Mountaineer GNCC. And as we welcome you guys back, you heard us talking a little bit about Stu Baylor having some mechanical issues, and it sounds like I think we've got Zach Herron down in the pits standing by with Stu Baylor.
Hey guys, yeah, I am standing down here. Stu Baylor talking with the team.
No, I want to make sure.
Going to grab you for just a second, Stu. Obviously, we don't want to be talking to you right now. There's no other way to put it. You were fired up. You were charging towards the front. Take us through what happened.
Yeah, it was last place start. Man, our starts were dialed all week, and my bike's been firing faster than ever. Spent some time working on it. I guess I just expected to go to the front. We needed it today, and last place, and man, got to the woods, and I just see a pileup of XC1 guys, and I joined them and laid down with them. But it was so bad. I mean, you couldn't see what was going on. The track was absolutely deadly out there, and just finally, I was like, you know what? Like, change your mindset. I was legit to the point, like, I was thinking about my kid. Like, I don't want to fucking send it. But at the end of the day, like, this is my job. This is what paid the bills. Turn that brain off, and it was time to go to work there the last couple laps. And I gave it everything I had, made 3 or 4 passes on that last lap, and just got into a bad situation trying to pass a guy that was going much slower than I was, and just couldn't edge that pass out, and ended up catching a rock, we believe, and it looks like it crushed my clutch cover into the basket. But at first I thought it was a battery. We tried playing with that just through process of elimination. I think that's what it is. But you know what? It wasn't meant to be, and I can't be mad about it. I mean, it was dangerous out there, so maybe it was the good Lord above making sure that I didn't stay out here and do anything dumb.
Hey, there it is, guys. The 5-1-4, ending early but staying on the bright side. All heart there from Stu Baylor.
All right. Well, thanks for the update there, Zach. Tough break for Stu Baylor. It looks like he's handling it well.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, at this point, you know, it's one of those things. I absolutely hate this saying, but it is what it is, right? And that's a little true right there for Stu. So Stu will have to reset and come back in a couple of weeks and maybe start setting his sights on finishing the year strong and hoping to come back for 2025 swinging. We have no doubt about that. But an absolute heartbreaker for Stu. Hate to see that. Hate to see that for anybody, really. But, boy, Stu, just rough day for him out there. So, you know what? Stu Baylor, one of those guys, he has worked alongside Dr. Tanner, and Dr. Tanner with SOS Safety on Site out here at the races with us. Boy, what an asset he has been. As we wait for our leaders to come through the FMF PowerPoint, we actually had a chance to do a little rig tour with Safety on Site and Dr. Tanner.
Dr. Mark Tanner here with SOS. We're going to take a look at the medical rig. All right, so this is our medical triage area. We've got stuff for splinting, washing out eyes, laceration repairs. We got some splints. We got some walking boots for any kind of fractures. We got crutches, knee splints, wrist splints, slings. We got injectables, laceration, sutures. So probably the most common injury would be lacerations, abrasions. So we're able to wash people out, sew up complex lacerations. Then you got fractures. We can reduce fractures. All right, let's go inside and check out the x-ray machine. This is the portable x-ray. It's the Micro C by Oxos Medical. We're able to do extremities, so wrists, elbows, shoulder, knee, ankles, feet. You know, we get very good images, very low radiation. We keep IVs for emergency hydration. This saves you a trip to the ER. So we can do this, and we can do it quickly within 15, 20 minutes, and we're done. So we have a handheld ultrasound machine. This is good for small things. We can look at ligament injuries. We can look for IV placement and not strong enough to do like an abdominal exam. So our plan is to get a full strength ultrasound by the end of the year. Thanks for joining us. So in summary, SOS, Safety on Site, is a 501c3, so all donations are tax deductible. All care is free to the racers, so we need donations, we need sponsorship. If you're interested in contacting us, we're going to have a sheet. It's got a QR code for a donation site, and you can contact us if you want to be a supporter. Thanks for joining us, and see you at the races.
Boy, what an asset to have at the GNCC's at Safety On Site SOS, and Dr. Tanner here with us every week. And the special guests, they keep on rolling, baby. We got Triple J in here from Scott, man. You come out here to the GNCC with us this weekend. How's your weekend been?
Man, it's good to be back. You know, I got a lot of crap this weekend. Everybody's like, man, we haven't seen you forever. I'm like, hey, it's not like we missed a bunch of races. We had a big summer break.
That's very true.
And unfortunately, I did miss the first round back, which I was super bummed. But
Mike Wachowski going by. Go ahead.
Oh, Mike is this guy's ripping. But
yes.
But unfortunately, yeah, for me, not unfortunately, but I had to do bachelor duties.
It happens
at the Buckwheat. But we're back, and I'm excited to be back. There's nothing like the GNCC family.
Watching some of our leaders roll through here, I think that was Liam Draper and then Trevor Bollinger right there just behind him, the 739. Triple J, you talking a little bit about the 2.0, man?
Yeah, so we launched a new goggle right before this weekend. We actually had Johnny wearing it at the start of this race today, and it's cool. We have a new quick release change system that's making everybody really excited because our lens is one of those things to where we were kind of late to the party, but sure. Just one of those things where now it's just a little bit easier to change the lens. So that's a huge feature for us. Our foam is absolutely amazing. Everybody loves our foam. So if you haven't tried the Scott, please try it. The new 2.0 is a revised version. It's a little bit more comfortable in the nose area. And like I said, the quick release lens change is a huge success for us so far this week in the GNCC.
I love that, man. That's like moving forward. That's what it's all about, that progress of the progressing with the sport. You guys do a great job with that. There's no doubt. Man, it has been, like, you've been with us at several of these GNCCs this year. It has opened your eyes to the world of off-road racing. Yes. And what has been your perspective coming out here to the GNCCs?
It's one of those things for me to where how any fan, doesn't matter if you're me, if it's you, or if it's Jackson, or if it's just anybody that just lives in West Virginia. If you want to come to a GNCC, there's no access like GNCC.
It's very true.
The start today, you got to see right in front of you the whole shot.
Yeah.
You can't see that in any other race. Like
very true.
Pro motocross, supercross, F1, wherever it is, you're 300, 500, you're far away. You can see these guys go for that whole shot. You can see it in their eyes. It's crazy how much access you get at GNCC.
That's it. We just had Evan Smith rip right through there, the 347, one of our XC1 Pro guys. And
Phoenix Rider. No, that's Beta.
That was Josh Strang. Yeah, the number 7 of Josh Strang.
New bike this weekend?
New bike last weekend. Last couple, or 2 weekends ago, I guess now. But, totally. Josh finishing it out. What's next for you?
Kelly. What's next for me is we have the Ponca National.
Yes.
Unfortunately, I will miss the next round of John Penton. But we will have our another associates at the Ironman GNCC.
Oh, heck yeah.
So the bachelor party I was referring to, that's our wedding.
Oh, okay. Well, that's fair.
Not my wedding, but his wedding. So, man, Ashburn was Draper. What about Draper? That's awesome.
Yeah. Man, he has been doing great here today. Got to catch up with some of the AmPro Yamaha guys earlier. Ricky Russell out of this one, but however, Liam Draper, man, he is right here in the fight, running in that 3rd place position.
Yeah, and he did really well at his first round last weekend at the Penton, correct?
Yes, he did. He did very well.
Yeah, it's cool to see him in the XC1 class, another Scott guy. So right now we're running 1 and 3, which is really cool for Scott.
Hey, good spot for you guys. Heck,
we'll take that. We'll take
it. Well, we were talking a little bit about Dr. Tanner, the SOS, Safety on Site. We actually, this race, we have been giving a lot of attention to our first responders. This is our salute to first responders. And we had another little segment for you guys recognizing those first responders.
We couldn't be doing this without those guys. From all the wars and everything we've had, fighting, giving their lives to this country so that we can continue to live how we live and do what we do. It's super appreciated, and all the way down to first responders, all the paramedics and everything that help us out whenever we get into trouble here at the races. All of them Got to say thank you. My girlfriend Michaela's a nurse, so she's, you know, I hear all about it all the time, and it's not a job I'd want to have. So I appreciate what you guys do.
Pretty awesome for us to be able to do this. I mean, I have friends that have been in the military, and it's I don't know, it's heroic, really, because it's a risk, and they go and put their lives on the lines to allow us to have our freedom. So it's cool that GNCC kind of dedicates a race to military appreciation. So definitely cool.
It hits home for me. Obviously, my dad in the police force, have some family in the medical stuff. So big shout out to everyone that's, you know, we're here because of them. So shout out to, you know, the police force on my end, because my dad, police officer in Indiana. So yeah, thank you.
Forget about that. Mike Wachowski's dad, law enforcement in Indiana. I have to watch my speed when I go home tonight. So, you know, keep your head on a swivel. No, but we appreciate our first responders. Certainly couldn't do all the amazing things we get to do on the weekends without them in any kind of capacity here. So, watching from the Yamaha Racing Live drone, Jordan Ashburn has been absolutely sensational today, as has Mike Wachowski. And there we watch Ashburn right there. Yeah, Triple J, your guy, you were talking about, you know, potential championship on the line for him today. He's got to finish, Johnny Gerard got to finish 14th or better, and that would seal the deal on the national title, man. So that's got to feel good.
Yeah, I mean, for us, it would be my first one working these events. Last year, you know, Craig, great job.
Yeah.
Shout out to Craig. He did an amazing year and was able to get that title at Ironman last year. And this year, we're looking good. You know, I'm hoping, you know, Johnny can put it all together. You know, it's like Selena was saying earlier, hey, yes, we want to do it, but we still have 2 more rounds.
Right.
So it's one of those things where you just got to think long term and not put all your eggs in one basket.
Absolutely.
And try to put all your focus on this one race. It's still a lot more racing to go, but
no doubt.
In the scheme of things, you want to clinch it and put it behind you. Just go have fun the last 2 rounds. So we'll see how it all goes, and yeah, I'm wishing him all the best, and we're excited, and you know. What do we got left? An hour left. So
that's it. Yeah, 5-lap race. We're getting to the nitty-gritty here.
So I'm excited.
So we just saw Ashburn roll through there. Got a bit of a gap. There is the 282 Phoenix Racing Honda of Mike Wachowski sitting in that 2 spot. Wachowski was very confident coming into today. Said he felt like he's got a podium under his belt here in one of these last 3 rounds. Boy, maybe all 3. He's looking sensational here today, sitting in that 2 spot. And got to show some love to Trevor Bollinger and Liam Draper. Jackson, did we see, was it Draper back out in front of Trevor Bollinger? I feel like it was. Yeah. So the 198 back out in front of Trevor Bollinger, making his way around. So believe it is still Draper 3rd, and now Bollinger back to that 4 spot.
It's cool to see these guys. Just what I was telling them this weekend is this series is getting so involved with different winners.
Oh yeah.
You know, I don't know the actual count this year. You would know more of that, but I mean, I feel like, you know, we've had multiple different winners this year, and it's actually cool. Speaking of Indiana, I saw Jordan went and did an IXCR.
Oh yeah, yes.
It's just this whole sport of off-road racing and GNCC racing is just the last, maybe, you know, like I said, I'm still new, but the last 3 to 4 years it's grown substantially.
Oh, very much.
It's very cool to see a new avenue of people to go racing and a new avenue of bike manufacturers and all that. So it's big shout out to the GNCC family and the off-road family.
And you know, not to. Some more coming in the future from the rumor mill, if you will, over the next couple of years. So, yeah, very, very cool for the sport. Good things.
Oh, there's water.
Yes, we found it, the 1 spot, and they bunny hop right over it and say no thank you. So Jordan Ashburn actually, with a good lead, last time he came into the pits, they decided to do the filter change. I think the right idea, man. He had a good enough gap. They could go in there, take a little extra time, whereas Wachowski and Draper did not. We did not catch whether or not Trevor Bollinger changed his filter. We caught him coming out of the pits, but nonetheless, Ashburn has just about done everything right to this point. And getting close, knocking on the door of a 4th lap completed. And we'll be getting that white flag coming out for Ashburn.
Have we seen conditions like this before at this event at Beckley?
Man, at Beckley, I don't think we've ever seen it this dusty at Beckley. There you go. Our producer, Adam Gordon, saying, yeah, it was a little dry the first couple of years, but nothing like this one. Okay. And, yeah, I'm a Midwest guy. I have no idea what the weather's been like out here. But, yeah, this one was one for the books. And Mike Wachowski, the pit crew, letting them know, throwing those pit boards out. Maybe letting them know you're doing a heck of a job. You got Draper behind you.
That was one of the big surprises for me coming to GNCC is how these mechanics bike this track round after round to give communication to these riders. And it's just crazy to see like how they will go, 7 miles that way, and then they'll be back in time for these guys to pit. So it's a nonstop job for not only the riders but also the mechanics.
Yeah, they gotta keep their heads on a swivel out there. They're constantly moving. So waiting on Ashburn to check in with that 4th lap completed. Leading the way, Grant Davis, another guy sitting 5th in the OA today, had that win earlier, or just a couple of weeks ago. I was going to say earlier this season, literally 2 weeks ago. He has had a great ride. Nick DeFeo on the Kawasaki, leading all amateur riders, no doubt, and sitting 6th in the OA. And Jordan Ashburn has checked in for that 4th lap completed. So white flag out in this one. And we'll get an idea what that gap is when Wachowski checks in. There he is. Now 35.9 seconds is the gap between Wachowski and Ashburn out front. Liam Draper's checked in 3rd. He is 4 seconds back from Mike Wachowski. And Trevor Bollinger, 11.5 seconds up to Liam Draper. So Draper slowly starting to apply a little pressure to Mike Wachowski in that 2 spot.
And there he goes by the mile 1 mark now.
Man, if you're a lapper in these situations, it's got to be brutal.
Terrifying.
Yeah. Not only are you struggling to see, but then you got guys coming up on you so fast. It's definitely one of those things to where it's cool. I wouldn't say cool, but it's just strategy, right?
Yeah.
Just how to work the track, how to work at each mile marker. It's just, again, for me, it's just exciting to see all this and experience.
Yes, very much.
Trevor Bollinger checked in here at the mile 1 as well.
So Bollinger not too far off of that pace. Little bit of a gap now. It's again when they checked in is about 11.5 seconds. I was waiting to see when Grant Davis, Nick DeFeo, and Jonathan Johnson, show him some love, man. He has had a great ride here today, sitting in a 7th OA. What do we have, Jackson?
Straying on screen, making his way through the pits now, back to, I believe, Jordan Ashburn. That is going to be Ashburn making his way through.
Ashburn through the Monster Mile. Not as much of that sense of urgency, that charge we saw out of Ashburn earlier. Now he's in kind of, hey, you got a good gap. Let's hit the marks. And, boy, such a good technical rider is Jordan Ashburn. No problems for him through the Monster Mile.
Yeah, if you're Jordan Ashburn right now, you're just like, hey, let's just bring this thing home and ride it out and be smooth and consistent.
And Ashburn's one of those guys. We were down in the closest he's come was Tennessee. Home race for him.
Wire at that one.
Yes, and there goes Mike Wachowski right there. And there is Liam Draper on the rear wheel now of Mike Wachowski.
How about that? The 198 machine closing up. Mikey, we talk about it a lot. When they see that white flag, they know it is go time. This is their last opportunity.
And also to that, Jack, when you see that rider in front of you, too, it gets you that spark, and you're like, hey, I got a chance. I got 30 minutes left to go in this moto. Like, let's buckle down and chase after this guy.
Exactly. That's exactly what Liam Draper is doing here in this one. Man, Liam Draper off to a great start here in his XC1 career. Yeah. Going to be expecting him next year full-time in the XC1 class, so that'll be interesting.
Yeah, he's got to have so much confidence if he can hang on, for another podium here today. Led a large portion of the race a couple of weeks ago, and hey, great fit on the bigger bike for Liam Draper. Just seems to suit him very well. So good things for Liam Draper as we're in silly season here. He's going to close out the year pretty well.
Definitely. And have we seen that before? Is that something that's normal in GNCC where a guy will kind of jump up if he's struggling in his class that he's in, kind of jump up?
Yeah, pretty common. I would say you normally see it maybe not right out of the summer break, but I would say those last couple of rounds, specifically Ironmans, where we see it a lot. You'll see a guy make into the XC1 debut, and then next year's, the rookie season, technically speaking. But, yeah, very common. It's, hey, the season hasn't quite gone the way I wanted, or I wrapped up the championship early, whatever that scenario is, and they say, I want to test the waters out a little bit. Or maybe it's a team, too, and pro saying, hey, let's figure this out for next year.
Totally. Get some settings. And yeah, makes sense.
So has DeFeo checked in? I believe.
I'm having some technical difficulties. I think 6th. Let's see. Scoring computer is thinking about it. I've got the blue circle of death over here, so the answer, Jackson, is I don't know. According to our ticker, yes, on the screen, but that might not update quite like this one. Let's just restart.
We will keep our eyes on him. Man, he has been having a great day as well, able to get ahead of the entire XC2 class up until Grant Davis got 1 spot ahead of him in the overall charts. Davis going to be sitting 5th. DeFeo sitting 6th. Last time we were able to check in with him, going to get our timing and scoring fired back up and see where those riders are going to be, as well as Johnny Gerard. Now our screen showing Johnny Gerard is in the 15th place position, moving down now as the other riders check in. So he is going to move down as the XC2 class, and the rest of the riders check in.
Is that Ashburn checking in at mile 2?
That is. Here comes Jordan Ashburn on the big number 3, gas. And he is through. Now we turn our attention back. Good battle for second going on here. Let's see. Is it going to be Witkowski or Draper that's going to pop out first? Draper right there with Witkowski last time we saw him. And it is. It's the 282 of Witkowski. Still holding on to it. Now let's take a look. There's Liam Draper coming through now.
3 seconds. Ooh, let's do it. And can confirm Grant Davis has checked in. 4th lap completed. Sits 5th in the OA. Nick DeFeo's checked in. Sits 6th in the overall as well.
Man, this one's come down to the wire. You got Bollinger still pushing too, and this is going to be a good race to the finish.
Be a good finish for Bollinger here if he's able to hold on to that 4th place position in class as well as overall. So race clock sitting at about 2:16 here in this approximately 3-hour event. White flag lap here for these riders. 4 laps complete so far. And this one's going to come down to the line, it looks like, between your 2nd and 3rd place riders.
Yeah, looking forward to seeing how this one shakes up. And it's Ashburn out front, Witkowski and Draper in a heated battle. Trevor Bollinger having his best race of the year. And again, as we mentioned, hey, salute to first responders. We've got the Kurt Caselli medical unit that we use here at the races. Such an integral part of keeping our riders safe. And we had a chance, I believe Zach Herron had a chance to take a look a little more in depth at the Kurt Caselli medical unit.
If you've been around the GNCC racing circuit, you may have seen this machine crossing the track or making its way through the pits. This is the Kurt Caselli safety unit. The Kurt Caselli Foundation was founded after the legendary off-road racer tragically passed away in 2013. But the goal of the foundation is simple: to provide top-notch medical equipment and safety to the off-road racing community. Now, we've been lucky enough to have this brand new Polaris side-by-side given to the GNCC Racing Nation, and it has been equipped with equipment to help not only help riders get off the track quicker, but get them to safety, the SOS medical crew, as quickly as possible. We're extremely fortunate to be able to partner with the Kurt Caselli Foundation year after year, and if you guys are interested in learning more information or donating yourself, you can go to kurtcaselli.com and make your donation.
The Kurt Caselli safety unit here at the GNCC is grateful to have that. Good job, Zach.
Man, so many cool things, whether it's the Kurt Caselli safety unit there, whether it's the SOS. You know, the SOS, we heard that they were a nonprofit taking donations. Not only can you donate to them, you can also buy a t-shirt from them for $25.
Yeah. Oh, that's right.
That goes straight into their pocket. So if you're interested in that, guys, make sure to stop by the SOS unit at one of the GNCCs and pick yourself up one of those t-shirts. So it looked like our lead riders making their way by.
White flag lap. Riders going to work. And there you
Rui Barbosa.
Oh, that was Rui.
Yeah, Barbosa, yeah.
So Rui, earlier when everybody was taking the pit stops, changing out the air filters, Rui choosing not to get an air filter, as Cody Barnes now coming through. He is not far back.
Man, Johnny Gerard is sitting with some riders checking in on adjusted time in front of him. 16th. He's a 14th or better.
Now, with Ben Kelly checking in right there, do you feel like there might be any strategy?
Oh, good question. I mean, it possibly. That's a poker game right there. I think that's poker.
I feel like if Ben has raced the whole season, but with Ben just coming back,
right?
You know, you know what I mean. We never know until we know, right? But it would be an interesting question for sure.
Yeah, I mean, you look at it. Johnny Gerard sitting 16th right now. The two guys in front of him, Angus Reardon and Ben Kelly.
Two KTM
two KTM guys there. So yeah, that's actually a really great question. I mean, it's certainly in the realm of possibilities. If I'm Gerard though, I'm like, nah, don't make them check up. Let me earn this thing.
Who we got here? Oh, that is Ben Kelly. I thought I saw him pulling off to the side. He definitely did. He is having problems with that machine.
Well, there's an answer for that one, although not intentional by any means. As Ben Kelly feverishly
like on the air filter cover.
Yep. Trying to get that machine going and pushing it.
I do believe I saw Ben in the pits taking an air filter, so possibly having some trouble with it, possibly just checking the air filter and not changing it.
Yeah, the bike could maybe have a bog or something. He's just kind of checking to see. You never know with these things. And who's this checking in?
This is going to be Gus Reardon making his way through.
Okay. Man, last lap shenanigans.
Look at that. See, Triple J, that was the announcer curse right there. Welcome to the team. You are an official announcer right now. You just tossed out the announcer curse. Oh, my goodness. Jordan Ashburn, he says, you guys have at it out there. I am having a day right now. That machine's still clean. Jordan Ashburn has been pretty much flawless to this point. Some of our lap traffic right there. Wachowski and Draper, that little dog fight back there. Is this our fight? That is Wachowski right there.
So there's Wachowski.
I couldn't tell.
Draper or not, yeah.
Just a quick glance.
Well, there's Bollinger, so that had to be
there's
Draper.
Bollinger. So I'm thinking, I think Liam Draper was in there. Quick little shot, but I think the 198 was just in front of him. But still, Bollinger sending it right now, throwing everything at him that he can. Wait and see. But I'm pretty positive we saw Liam Draper check in there in front of those guys, still in that mix. Ashburn, Wachowski, Draper, we believe. Trevor Bollinger still in the fight. Grant Davis, Nick DeFeo, Cody Barnes, Evan Smith, Jonathan Johnson, and Gavin Simon rounding out your top 10 in this one, getting late into it. 4 laps completed in what'll be a 5-lap race when it's all said and done here. Watching mile marker number 4. And there you go.
So out front leading the way, it is the Coastal Racing Gas, the number 3 machine. There you see the true north of GNCC, Ricky Towery. If you think he's wrong, he's not. I learned that the hard way last year. He knows what's going on better than the rest of us. He knows that Jordan Ashburn is trying to take that Coastal Racing Gas to an XC1 Pro win. He's got less than a lap to hang on to if he wants to get the job done. And the bigger question is, will we be crowning an XC1 champion by the time this race is over? A lot of questions coming up right after this from the Mountaineer GNCC.
I'm Jordan Ashburn, and you're watching GNCC Live at RacerTV.com.
You know, when I take the bike out like this, all my stresses just melt away.
I hear that. This bad boy can fix anything.
Yep, tough day at work. Nice cruiser sorts you right out.
When I'm riding, I'm not even thinking about my painful cavity.
Oh, you shouldn't ignore that.
And every time I get stressed about having to pay my bills, I just hop on the bike, man.
Oh, come on, man. You gotta pay your bills.
You don't have to worry about anything when you're protected by America's #1 motorcycle insurer.
Well, you definitely do. Those things aren't related, so...
Ah, yee! Oh, that is a vibrating pain.
Progressive GNCC Racing is brought to you by Progressive. Progressive could save you hundreds of dollars on your automobile and motorcycle insurance. Specialized e-turbo bicycles. It's you, only faster. RockyMountainATVMC.com. Get ready. And we welcome you back, GNCC Live, here on RacerTV.com. Again, our salute to first responders this week. And we'll take a little quick moment while we are waiting on our leaders to come through. And there's just a little bit of dust here. We wait on our leaders to come through here. We want to take a chance to recognize some more of our first responders from the perspective of our pro riders.
First responders in the military, like, obviously it allows us to do what we do. And I've got my grandpa who's in the Air Force, and as far as the first responders, it's obvious that we need them, and a lot of us would never want to be involved in what they do. So to me, it's huge, and I love to see the appreciation, because a lot of times it does go unnoticed, and I'm guilty of the same. So to actually go out and stand out and show our appreciation is huge, and the way GNCC does it each weekend with one of the active or retired military, I think is extremely cool.
To honor the first responders in the military, I think it's very important. I had a great uncle who served in the Korean War and was a POW and did, I'm not sure, but he marched, it was some famous march where he marched in the snow with no shoes on and something like that. Like, just a total, just a different breed, man. And we wouldn't be able to live the life that we live without any of those guys. So owe it all to them for sure, and it means a lot for sure. And Anthony, he was a veteran as well, our team manager, and can't thank everyone that has served enough.
First responders, military, Army, all them guys, they're it's what makes the world go round. It's what makes us have the freedom and be able to do this and what we love to do and chase our dreams. And my dad's cousin was in the military, and he was a front runner. He's a pretty bad dude, the Purple Heart Award, all sorts of very high achievements. And he was crawling in the ground in Iraq and crawled over a ground grenade and blew half his stomach apart, and ended up living, came home, got fixed up, and wanted to go back. So those guys are gnarly, man. My hat's off to them. If it wasn't for them, we couldn't do what we want to do.
Amen. Johnny Gerard.
Very cool to see just how much those guys appreciate it too, right? It's very easy for them to get caught up in their world and, hey, we're the superstars of off-road racing, but they have that bigger picture, that perspective as well.
That's what it's all about. Amen, amen. Look at that shot, man, of the finish line area.
Where? Oh,
exactly. My point exactly. Do not adjust your television sets at home, folks. That is legit. And I say it all the time. I had a chance to kind of pump Ricky up a little bit this week. He was late, air quotes, late to his start, and he's taking deep breaths, right? And I'm like, I said, do you need more time? He's like, no, Mikey, I'm good. I said, no, I'm going to give you some time. And I gave the man a shout out. I said, he's the hardest working man in GNCC. I will die on that hill. The only breaks Ricky Towery gets are the ATV ride from the finish to the start and from the start to the finish. And that's not really much of a break.
Yeah, he's not going slow either. No. He's straight from one to the other. And a smile on the face the whole time, too.
The whole time.
I mean, I think we've all been guilty of complaining here or there. I've never once heard Ricky say a negative word about anything.
Nope. Yeah, very positive. Good man. Waiting on the leader, FMF PowerPoint mile marker number 7, getting down to the nitty-gritty here in the Mountaineer GNCC. Ashburn still leading the way. He has been darn near flawless to this point. Mike Wachowski and Liam Draper, that battle starting to heat up, and Trevor Bollinger not far off of their pace in that number 4 spot. And then Grant Davis, honestly doing his Grant Davis thing, sitting 5th in the OA, leading the XC2. And Nick DeFeo, a shout out to him. We've seen him in the top 10 before, but today sitting 6th. At one point was up into 3rd overall.
Yeah, big day for T-Rex without a doubt, and we can see week after week, round after round, he's continuing to stay consistently around that top 10, now starting to even flirt with the top 5. Yeah, I think big things to come from T-Rex.
Yeah, and I think the big difference today versus what we saw 2 weeks ago, DeFeo and Simon up in the front there. Now we do see Jordan Ashburn, the number 3 Coastal Racing Gas working his way through. He is still your leader, 7 miles in to the final lap of racing here, getting ever so closer, clicking off the mile markers, 35-second gap when they checked in at the completion of lap number 4. What will the gap be now? He's kind of managing it at this point. You know, he's just hitting his marks. He knows he's got a good little comfortable gap, but DeFeo and Simon really have stayed strong throughout the latter parts of this race, whereas it seemed 2 weeks ago they were up in there, and then they kind of, you don't want to say faded, but I think the XC1 and XC2 guys really turned it up and kind of pushed them further back. It is still Wachowski in the number 2 spot, sitting there looking, don't know exactly what the gap was, but we'll say it's around that 35-second gap still. And how far back is Liam Draper?
Right
that
there.
far.
So we did miss him earlier. I was almost certain of it, just kind of getting lost in the clouds. Liam doing some grown man moves, too. That turn right there into the dust, very little vision, and there is Trevor Bollinger charging. Johnny, you've been around since Trevor Bollinger moved up from the XC2 class. How bad does he need this ride today?
Yeah, I mean, momentum, it can be a very powerful tool,
yes.
And it's been a rough 2024, honestly, a rough several seasons for Trevor Bollinger. I was actually just talking about him earlier today, and for a while there, it was like he would come back from injury, and even though it was kind of hit or miss, he'd have some top 5s and even some podium runs. And honestly, here lately, it's been, even though he's finishing races, he's just not in the mix up front. So today, a much needed great ride for Trevor Bollinger. From what I'm hearing is, you know, we let these guys kind of divulge this stuff for themselves. The silly season rumor is going to be moving on from that Rockstar Husky team for 2025. But still, nonetheless, putting in a great ride for them here today, and at least having 2 rounds with that team, you know, wanting to pay those guys back for many years of great support that they've offered him. So very cool to see him up there in the mix, and not out of the mix for a podium just yet. Just a few seconds out of that number 3 spot. And, you know, he badly wants to get up there to silence the haters, thank the sponsors, and you know, make himself feel a little better.
Yeah, that's it. That's exactly right. Be good for Trevor Bollinger. It's kind of funny. Look at Grant Davis. In a normal situation, Johnny, we're this late into the race, and if Grant Davis out of the XC2 sitting in that 5 spot, we would be pumping that up as Evan Smith going by right there. This is still an incredible day for Grant, but after watching him win a couple of weeks ago, we've not talked much about him.
Yeah, I mean, when you're coming off a win, a top 5, just not quite at that same level. Nothing taking anything away from Grant. He was up in the 3rd place spot earlier in the race, you know, and he's just kind of been in the mix all day there, but leading the way in that XC2 class. Really, that should be his goal at this point. He's trying to, he and Angus Reardon are fighting for that XC2 national title. So max points, 30 for winning that class today, and he's on pace right now to do that with less than half a lap of racing remaining. But you know, these guys are racers. They want to get as far up as they can, so wouldn't be shocked to hear him say a little disappointed with the overall, but ultimately the goal's got to be that win in that XC2 class.
Yes, getting the job done so far.
So far out front, still have not seen our 2nd place rider check through. When they did check in, it was Cody Barnes in that number 2 spot, and he was all the way back 1 minute 50 seconds behind. There is Josh Strang coming through. That would be 6th place in your XC1 class, and then it is Rui Barbosa. We should be getting close to Johnny Gerard territory now. Ben Kelly was just behind Barbosa, and then another 49 seconds back was Johnny Gerard. Looks like we have Cody Barnes there on screen, so that is 2nd place in that XC2 class. Top 2 in XC2 are by at the 7-mile marker, and now we wait and we watch. Is it? It is. Looks to me to be the 969 of Gerard.
Oh, that was tough.
Yeah. You know, we saw Ben pull over, so it'd be interesting to see if he's where he's at. We might be able to catch a glimpse of him in the next shot.
Just waiting to see which KTM rider is going to roll through there next. Get some confirmation on that.
This looming large, obviously, for the championship. If Johnny Gerard is able to cross the line inside the top 14 overall, there is Nick DeFeo, the 246 machine. That is your top amateur. and was running in that 6th place overall position. And that really kind of mixes it up for you. You know, we may have already seen Johnny Girard come through in about 15, 16 overall, and then Nick DeFeo comes by after him, but he's in 6th overall. Folks, it gets complicated when you start working in the time correction. Some of these guys, you know, generally around a minute between rows, they do keep track of that. That is Ben Kelly, I can tell by the riding style and the shoey helmet. So it was Johnny Girard that came through before, so he is definitely up into at least 15th place overall, having passed his teammate. Whether or not he has gotten that 14 that he needs, we're not going to know until they get to the finish line. Looking at the time correction, it's going to be close, but I believe if he's made up that much time, he was very near to the rear of Rui Barbosa. Rui Barbosa is 13th place overall, so if he's able to get in front of Rui, he was just behind him there in that camera shot. Kind of a little more insurance, but again, a lot of time corrections there. We still got XC2 riders, 258 riders in the mix, so we won't be able to call this one as soon as Johnny crosses the line. We'll have to wait until at least the top 15 overall, the top probably 20-ish overall have checked in, just to make sure once all those guys are in and he's no longer being bumped down in the order, we know that's done, and we know where he's at for the day. And we're coming up on that in just a couple of miles. Now we see Angus Reardon on screen. That would be 3rd place in, looking like he may have fallen a little further back. I mean, I didn't see Jonathan Johnson come through, but he may have come through there already when we were talking about that. He was actually ahead of Angus in that XC2 class. And there is Gavin Simon, your 250A leader. So again, those 250A riders really making tracks and really getting themselves up there in the overall. Simon running in that 10th place position with 4 laps complete. Now working on that final lap of racing. Would be the first time in a while. We did see it once earlier this year. We had 2 250A riders in the top 10 overall with Jason Tino and Nick DeFeo. And it may have happened another time, but I know at least once it's already happened, showing a lot of talent in the younger ranks here at GNCC Racing. And these guys want it. They're working hard, and they're just digging their way in, getting closer to the front week in and week out.
And that's the thing with GNCC Racing. Every weekend it's different outcome, right? You're always going week to week, just giving it your best effort. And you know, like you said, DeFeo was 10th in top 10. Now he's knocking on top 5s overall. So it's one of those things where it's a long season, but if you stay consistent, good things can come.
Yeah, absolutely. And these guys are learning. Coming up, obviously, in the coming years, they'll likely move up to that XC2 class and keep working their way towards racing XC1 with the big dogs, and they're getting to mix it up with them out there on the track. This is invaluable experience. They're getting to see exactly how these guys ride, learning from them. Can race them on corrected time. There is another one of our, that's our Open A leader, JoJo Cunningham, also running in the top 20 overall there, last lap in that 17th place overall position. And then it is our XC3 leader, Jack Walker, the number 719, 18th place overall, still leading the way in that FMF XC3 class. A lot of battles going out. We got an update there, Mikey. Is it still Cote d'Ivoire in second? What are our... Let's see if we can give a rundown of the top 3. Should be checked in now with 4 laps complete.
Yeah, Jack Walker out in front. Good gap back to Dakota DeVore. DeVore in second, and Dustin Simpson now in third.
What do we call him?
Oh, Dirt Bike Jesus.
Dirt Bike Jesus.
Yeah, Dustin Simpson, Dirt Bike Jesus.
Big gaps, though. 7 minutes, 23-second lead for Jack Walker. Absolutely laying it down out there, putting on a clinic today. Big old lead in that XC3 class, but still a lot of racing left. Not a whole lot of racing left for this guy. Not much standing between the finish line and a win for the number 3 Coastal Racing Gas of Jordan Ashburn on rails. After taking the lead away early from Mike Witkowski, he's just continued to march towards the finish line, manage that gap around 35 seconds, kind of stretches it out a little bit. They get a little closer, he picks up the pace. Really been in control of this one for about the last 3 laps.
Yeah, Jordan Ashburn's just been absolutely sensational. Johnny, you said it earlier. You feel like some of Jordan Ashburn's, we talk about him being such a good mud rider, but you think some of his best rides have come in dusty, dry conditions like today. I would argue that getting a win here today would kind of solidify that.
I personally feel like Jordan does well when the conditions get tough.
That makes sense.
You have to be mentally tough. You have to be, you have to kind of hit your marks. You have to be super solid. He is just, never makes the big mistake, never really hangs it out to the point where he's hitting the deck. We did see him low slide there 2 weeks ago, but still he picked it right up and took off. When the races are this long, it's hard to say, you know, how many times these guys hit the deck out there, but one thing we know, Jordan Ashburn, always quick up, always to go. He's at all the races. He's so consistent. He just puts himself in good positions, and on tough days like this, Mike, you call it out here. Looks like we have a new second-place rider.
Yeah, sounds like we were getting reports of it, and there it is in front of you. Liam Draper now up into that number 2 position, and the reports are maybe from Hollywood, our spotter, give him a shout-out there, but I believe Trevor Bollinger also around Mike Witkowski, and no signs of the 282. Racing Honda as Bollinger goes down. Quick to get the machine back up and going. So a little get off there by Bollinger, but how about this? Ashburn, Witkowski, and Bollinger looking 1, 2, and 3. We'll keep our eyes and ears open out for the 282, but boy, what a heartbreaker for Mike Witkowski.
Ashburn, Draper, and Bollinger.
Oh, excuse me, yes.
Yep. Draper up into the number 2 spot after Witkowski. We'll see if he checks in. We'll check back. They'll be coming to the finish line here, so we'll see the transponders checking in, but looking like maybe a problem for Mike Witkowski, possibly a crash. And here comes your leader, Jordan Ashburn, and this is it, folks. This is coming down the final turns, the final miles. He's getting ever so much closer. Coming behind, you see those white paint marks there? That is our starting line here for GNCC today. So he's coming along the start, getting ready to make a right-hand turn. He's going to jump through this little ditch, another ditch at the other end, and then he will be in the VP Fuels Pro Row, work his way past the semis one more time. Congratulatory fist bumps, I'm sure, or pumps, not fist bumps, from the teams there, and a lot of people are going to be very happy. Ashburn grab a win here today.
Yeah, Jordan, boy, been seeking this one all season. First one of the year it would be for him. And I go back to that Tennessee race. Again, he wanted that one. I think he could tell by the body language in the post-race interview. Kind of felt like he let it slip away, left something on the table. And here today, you know, hey, a little wheelie through Pro Row. Let the boys and girls know.
The lap rider joined him there in the wheelie
celebration. He said, hey, I want in on this.
That's GNCC family right there.
He's celebrating not Jordan's win. He's actually celebrating that the race is over.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good.
You know Ricky Tower is about to throw the checker flag for Jordan Ashburn. He's like, I'm going to take that thing too as well.
Yeah, a dusty one here today. Tough conditions. A lot of riders hitting the deck. A lot of bike issues. But Jordan Ashburn perseveres, Mikey.
Yeah, it just absolutely a sensational. When things get tough, look out for Jordan Ashburn as he is going to check in right here. One more turn, and there is Ricky Towery waving the checkered flag. And the number 3 Coastal Racing Factory Gas rider, Jordan Ashburn, will take his first win of the 2024 season.
That's awesome. Congratulations, Jordan.
There we go. And now the countdown will continue.
Yes.
How many riders come across? Will we crown an XC1 champion today? Has Johnny Gerard done enough coming back from changing a clutch master cylinder to be able to come back to finish inside the top 14 overall to solidify his 2024 championship run? We'll count them off. We'll let you know as they're checking in. Right now, still just Jordan Ashburn checked in with 5 laps complete, but we're watching Liam Draper, another stellar ride for this young man here today.
Wow.
Second race in XC1. Second straight second place finish, 2 podiums in 2 shots. Looking like Liam Draper looking to make himself a force in the 2025 season, but he's just getting warmed up here at the end of 2024.
Johnny, you talk so much about momentum, and right now in the XC1 class, I don't know that there's a guy that has more momentum than the 198 of Liam Draper.
That's Scott Goggles 1-2. I want to thank you guys for heading down to the podium.
Hey.
Thank you guys for everything today. Bollinger.
And there is a man that, well-deserved,
awesome.
well-earned. Trevor Bollinger in that 3 spot, absolutely fired up, and rightfully so. Trevor Bollinger has needed this one in the worst way.
Bummer of a day for Mike Witkowski. Coming in there in the number 4 spot. You know, he coming there, finishing in the 4th place spot, was in that 2nd place spot with just a mile or so to go. Trevor Bollinger looking like he's pretty tired there. Definitely a very exuberant podium celebration.
Very much.
Launched the bike, revved her out. You know, I think he's had a lot on his mind and putting himself on the box today. I think that's the first bike launch I've ever seen for a podium finish. But, hey, he's doing it his way. He's happy. He's got his people around him. And the man's been through a lot.
Yes,
he's earned a podium here today. And very cool to see for Trevor Bollinger and crew.
Yeah, absolutely. A stellar moment for Trevor Bollinger. Worked his tail off here today. Sat back in that 4 spot for a while and able to work his way up into the 3 position. And so it is, again, Ashburn taking the win. Draper's checked in. Trevor Bollinger's checked in 3rd. Grant Davis now checks in, and he is in the 4th place position. Mike Wachowski finally checks in. Boy, tough break for Wachowski. Going to finish 5th in the OA, 4th in the overall. Waiting to get those podiums set up. And let's see who else is checked in. Evan Smith is checked in 6th. While we do these podium or these post-race interviews, we'll continue to monitor scoring. Again, Johnny Gerard needs a 14th or better here today to clinch that national title.
Look at that there. A push on the last lap from Grant Davis, coming up less than 2 seconds short of the overall podium position, almost displacing Trevor Bollinger on the podium. But today it's Trevor Bollinger's day. Ends up in the number 3 spot overall, 2 seconds off the overall podium. Grant Davis with the win in XC2. And maybe, we'll have to see what he has to say about it. Don't know if he'd be disappointed to not be on the overall podium, but a big points day for him as it looks right now. Still waiting on 2nd place in that XC2. Last we checked, it was Cody Barnes there in the number 2 spot. We'll see if that's who checks in here at the finish line coming up here in about 2 minutes.
Getting down to it. Still waiting to get our post-race interview set up down there with Jordan Ashburn and the crew.
Rui Barbosa gets around Josh Strang. Oh, look at this. On a charge. Johnny Gerard almost lays it over. Knowing he needs every second, he crosses the line. Physically well inside the top 15 overall, crossing the line actually in as we refresh.
Drum roll, please. He is in 9th right now. So as it stands right now, Johnny, he is in good shape. But we know other riders are going to be checking in on that adjusted time. And is that Gerard heading right back to the pits?
It is, presumably going back. I don't know that he knows, obviously, the situation, but probably bummed, on the finish, on the day, but nonetheless may get some really good news here soon, but we will have to wait. We'll have to wait until...
All right, sounds like we are ready with our winner here today, Jordan Ashburn.
Hey, absolutely, guys. Jordan Ashburn getting set up. He's got the family hanging out with him. Jordan, man, it was some fantastic rides over these last few rounds, but that first lap, we could see the sense of urgency. You wanted to be in that number 1 spot. We saw what you were able to do with it. Take us through the day.
Yeah, I got a decent start there and kind of got bumped on Mike, bumped me out a little bit, and I was like, oh, man, going like 4th, and I made a quick pass on Craig going down the hill, and then I was behind Johnny and Mike, and about a mile in, I was probably already 15 seconds back. Couldn't see anything. Couldn't see anything. There's a lot going on back here, apparently. But yeah, it was a good day. I wanted to get out front and just charge and lead the day, and that's what we did. So bike was good. It was really comfortable today out. For the conditions, I was very comfortable.
Hey, absolutely. It was an impressive performance, man. Clearly, we got to talk about the pit stop. It looked like a NASCAR highlight reel out there. All of the Coastal Racing Gas team doing a great job. Who else do you need to thank, and who's backing you up?
I'd like to thank my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, my family for being here this weekend, my wife, my dad, my mom, everybody, thanks for the help. All my family at home watching, thank you guys. Borrowed a horse trailer to come to the race this weekend, so appreciate that. Man, I can't thank the whole team enough. Coastal Racing Gas, Denny, Amy, thank you guys so much for everything you do. And Barry's done an awesome job this year getting the team together and making sure we have everything we need. And Jameson's killed it with a bike, and man, tires were good, suspension was good. Everything was awesome this weekend, so thanks, guys.
Absolutely. An awesome day, an awesome finish. Jordan Ashburn grabbing your XC1 win.
All right, we are still continuing to monitor. Big congratulations there to Jordan Ashburn on the win as we wait to get that interview set up with our 2nd place finisher, Liam Draper. Ben Kelly has checked in, and that now Johnny Gerard sitting 12th place. But what we're waiting on, Johnny, as you just pointed out off air there, Gavin Simon, a 250A rider, Brody Johnson, Angus Reardon behind Johnny Gerard right now as far as the finish is going. But we'll have to wait till those guys check in to see where that puts Gerard.
All right, looks like we are ready with our 2nd place overall finisher, 2nd race in XC1, and 2nd overall podium, Liam Draper.
Yeah, guys, I'm down here with Liam Draper. Liam, 2nd on the day. Take us through your race.
Yeah, it was good. I got a pretty decent start. 5th, I think I was about 5th or 6th going into the woods, and yeah, we were at like a standstill, not even a mile into the woods, so I knew it was going to be tough to pass all day. But Yeah, me and Mikey went at it the last lap, and I just really wanted to get him, and I was revving and trying to make him make a mistake, but he rode good all day, and yeah, just super stoked on another podium.
And how you feel going into these final 2 rounds?
Yeah, excited. Hopefully we can get some moisture in the jump in, and it's not a dust bowl.
Final question, how does it feel to be up here battling for wins in the XC1 Pro class?
Yeah, it's definitely cool. You know, you never know where you stand when you come up to this big class and ride a 450. So makes those long summer days worth it.
All right, guys, that's Liam Draper, your 2nd place.
All right, so there we go. Liam Draper talking a little bit about his day there. 2nd place overall finish. Mikey, what a debut, backup to the debut. I think Adam, you want us to go ahead and announce it over the PA system? Johnny Gerard, if you are listening in the KTM pits, anybody near the KTM pits, if we can get Johnny Gerard, please, down to the finish line area, we would like to do an interview with our 2024 overall champion. We see the hugs going around. Johnny, if you can hear us, we'd like to get an interview. If you could come down to the finish line area, we'd like to get you on Racer TV, celebrate this championship with you. We have also got our 3rd place overall finisher, Trevor Bollinger. We've got our XC2 winner, Grant Davis. But Johnny Gerard, please make your way to the finish line area ASAP, please. Thank you.
All right, guys. In the meantime, I am down here with Trevor Bollinger, your 3rd place on the day. Trevor, you got it done here today. You're up on the podium. Take us through it.
Yeah, it was start was crucial today, and I don't know where I started, but it wasn't good, and just so hard, and you had to really trust your machine and just have faith in God going through that dust. You know, I definitely trusted him today, and it's been tough. You know, I've had a lot of injuries the past couple years, and it seems like everyone's kind of given up on me, but I've tested this bike once in 2 years, and man, to finally do it, prove everybody wrong, hell yeah.
There's no doubt about it. You haven't given up on yourself, Trevor. How you feel going into these final 2 rounds?
Yeah, I feel good. Just depends on the track, really. Like last GNCC, you saw I struggle with the bike, and you know, I'm just at the point in my career I'm not going to get hurt when I'm not comfortable. So days like today, when I feel good, you know, I'm ready to push it, and I'll risk everything. But you know, when I'm not comfortable, I'm not doing it anymore.
All right, guys, that's Trevor Bollinger, your 3rd place on the day. We'll let him get ready to head up to the podium.
There you go. Welcome back to the GNCC overall podium. Trevor Bollinger, 3rd place in the XC1 and 3rd place overall. I believe we may also have queuing up an interview with our XC1 winner, our XC2 winner, Grant Davis, and we are still waiting for Johnny Gerard to make his way over to the finish line area, where we will await an interview with our 2024 overall champion, Mikey. An unconventional way to get it done. Early in the day, it was looking likely with Johnny Gerard running up front, Stu Baylor further back in the pack. Then suddenly, Johnny having bike issues, dropping outside the top 20, outside the top 30 even, and it looked like Stu was going to make up big points. Next thing you know, Stu Baylor has bike issues. Johnny Gerard goes on a charge, pushes his way through the pack, ultimately finishing in the 12th place position, more actually than what he needed to do to wrap up this 2024 title. What an up and down day.
Yeah, it was just a wild weekend of GNCC. It was wild yesterday for ATVs. I don't know why we expected anything different here today on the 2-wheel side, but yeah, again, Johnny Gerard and kind of unconventional. It almost matches, though. You know, Gerard talked all season about, hey, big picture, right? Wins are awesome, but I want to make sure I'm doing what I need to do to put myself in a position to capture this national championship. And today was the definition of that. He needed a 14th OA after a dismal start, some mistakes, and some wild things happening with Stu Baylor, unfortunately. And he did just that. He said, I need 14th. He went out and he got at least 12th, and that's going to seal the deal for him.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, early on in the day, it sounds like from some information we were given, a clutch master cylinder issue, ultimately leaving Johnny without a clutch, realizing, hey, riding this whole race without a clutch, not the way to go. Even though he was up in a podium position at the time, opting to pull into the pits, that is a lengthy repair. That's not a quick, hey, we're going to change an air filter, or, you know, we're going to put a clutch lever on. That is a full clutch system. They have to completely remove the entire clutch system, put it on. It has to be bled and everything else. So it sounds like, he really overcame a ton of adversity today to get himself up front, or close enough to the front to clinch this championship with a 12th place overall ride. I believe our man Zach Herron actually running over to the KTM pits to let Johnny know. You see him on screen there. That's the blue blur right in the middle of the screen. Zach Herron letting him know, hey, we need you at the finish line. We're going to go ahead and talk about what's happened here today and hopefully get Johnny for an interview here as soon as we come back.
So, yeah, we've while we wait on that interview to get set up here, we're going to take a look at our Specialized race recap. And a pretty wild day, to say the least. All the storylines coming into it, Johnny. This was a dusty one. We've not really had many dust races in a long while. Mud and rain has been the story. But today, Jordan Ashburn just grabbing that whole shot award right there. But Mike Wachowski was a rider coming out of there with the early lead, the 282. And Mike had a great ride going for the very large majority of today.
Yeah, all the way up through the last lap. I mean, Mike was there. He was pushing the pace. He was leading, setting a pace really no one could match at the beginning. Then as Jordan Ashburn kind of got himself comfortable, here we see it was still actually Johnny Gerard in the number 2 spot early. Jordan kind of worked himself up there towards the end of the lap, but you can see here now, Jordan Ashburn there in the number 2 spot. These guys separated by some dust, and then things went sideways for the 212 of Ricky Russell, ultimately coming on, giving us a little interview, letting us know what went on, saying his knee actually popped out of play. He had to do some unconventional stretches. He said it kind of relaxed, popped back in, but popped out front was the 282 of Mike Wachowski. You can see the Phoenix Honda racing team cheering him on, their man out front, and an exciting day for him leading so much of this race.
Yeah, Mike Wachowski doing a great job. There is Jordan Ashburn patiently lurking back there, just methodically coursing his way through the racetrack, and then eventually, as we saw, there it is, Ashburn grabbing that lead through that FMF PowerPoint. Mike Wachowski doing a great job, man. Heartbreaker for him. We know something happened. There was Stu Baylor. You can see the sense of urgency out of Baylor. At this point, Johnny, it was a situation where Baylor going for it right there against Josh Strang. Baylor ringing this thing out. At this point, we knew Gerard was having issues, so Baylor was really sending it, and then this happened for Stu Baylor.
Yeah, Stu Baylor damaging the clutch cover engine cases on that machine. Nothing they could do. The machine had to be towed back, meaning his day was over. They're inspecting it just to see exactly what's going on, but no points on the board for Stu Baylor, meaning the opportunity was open for this man right here, the 969 of Johnny Gerard. Needed to get up to 14th place while Jordan Ashburn out front continued to march away, manage a gap of about 35 seconds. Then we started to see the air filter changes. We knew it was dusty. We knew a lot of these guys had the plan, and a very, very quick air filter change for the number 3 of Jordan Ashburn in and out of the pits, barely longer than it would have taken to get some fuel. And here he is out, fresh air filter, and a smart decision on behalf of that Coastal Racing Gas team here today.
Yeah, absolutely. Of anybody that maybe would have been able to bypass that, it was Ashburn, but with that gap, it allowed him to go in and do the right thing, change that filter out. And then this battle right here, Liam Draper up against Mike Wachowski, and Trevor Bollinger was lurking behind those guys back there in 4th for much of the day. And then Bollinger, just as he gets into 3rd place, we're singing the praises. He goes down, quick recovery in the Monster Mile by the 739. And there it is. Jordan Ashburn, for the first time in 2024, will grab a win here today. And Johnny, credit where credit's due. You said it. He is just good when conditions are rough like this.
Let me be clear. Jordan Ashburn is good all the time.
Oh,
he
yeah,
just seems
very
to
true.
really pull his best stuff out when the conditions get rough. There we see Johnny Gerard crossing the finish line. At the time, we couldn't celebrate. For him, he couldn't celebrate. We didn't know. We now know. That is your 2024 overall champion. Here's your top 10 from today, Mikey.
Ashburn taking first, Draper and Bollinger rounding out the box. Welcome back to the podium, Trevor Bollinger. Grant Davis, another stellar ride for him, and Wachowski rounding out that top 5. Smith, DeFeo, Barnes, Barbosa, and Strang rounding out your top 10s. A good mix of classes and names in the mix. But right now, we got to crown ourselves a 2024 champion. We are going to throw it down to Zach Herron, standing by with Johnny Gerard.
Thanks, guys. We found him. We brought him over. And now we get to introduce the 2024 XC1 Pro Champion, Johnny Gerard. You get the job done, man. Talk about an up and down day. We thought you were down and out. You come back and you wrap up the title. Take us through these last 3 hours.
Yeah, man, hectic to say the least. did exactly what I did, executed the start. I was right out front, put myself in a good spot, and less than a mile in, everything came undone. Ended up breaking my clutch line, had no clutch the whole first lap. I don't know how I made it up some of them hills and through the tight rocky sections. Pulled in, watched everyone go by me, watched all XC2 go by me, watched the A go by me, probably 125 go by me, and I was melting down, man, and I went out there and just put my head down, and that's all I can say. I was in the dust, crashing off the rocks, getting up, getting madder and madder and madder, and I guess that's what it took. I never gave up, and I rode my heart out, even that last lap, and had no idea I got the job done. So, yeah, came off the track a little upset and took off, but hey, I'm happy now.
Feeling a little better now, I would assume. So talk about this 2024 season as a whole. You've been on your game since the first round, really consistent results. Just overall, how do you feel about this season and getting the job done here today?
Yeah, I feel awesome. I was super consistent all year, never missed the podium until today, but a little freak mechanical. I tagged a tree and broke the clutch line, so yeah, had a super consistent, good year, put a lot of hard work in, and obviously it pays off, so yeah.
Yeah, you got the job done. Nobody gets the title by themselves, man. Who do you need to thank? Who's in your corner?
Yeah, the whole FMF Red Bull Factory KTM racing team, my mechanic Nick, my manager Timmy, all my great sponsors, Scott, Bicon, Alpine Star, FMF, Renthal, Dunlop, IMS, just everyone who makes the world go around. My family's here today, my mom here, my uncle, Selena, my baby, and just everyone that gets it. Makes the job happen, so thank you.
There it is. One more time, folks. Let's hear it. Your 2024 XC1 Pro GNCC champion, Johnny Girard. Look at that. A big hug from Leah Draper. It's a party down here at the podium.
Well, big congratulations to our 2024 champion, Johnny Girard. Boy, what a season for him, Johnny Gallagher. Just to clarify, we got two Johnny G's, man. It makes it difficult. But interesting point that Johnny Girard made was I've made the podium every single race this year except for today, the one where he clinches the championship.
Yeah, I mean, irony, but at the same time, there's no asterisk in championships. Amen. You know, nobody's going to say, well, you know, hey, the day you won the championship, you know, you weren't on the box. What it comes down to is he clinched it. He did the work all year long through 11 rounds of racing. And the fact that, you know, folks in GNCC racing, every round counts. He's wrapped this up 2 full rounds early. So that just shows the dominance, the consistency, again, on the podium every round all the way up until today. And then when things did go sideways, really sideways, his team, everyone rallied around him and said, look, we're going to get this thing to the finish line. We're going to do what we need to do. And they did. And what a reward.
Yeah, what a reward. So a big congratulations to Johnny on that one. Johnny Gallagher, big, again, Johnny and Johnny. Big takeaways from today.
Man, overcoming adversity. It's, you know, it's what life is about. It's what champions are made of. And Johnny Girard digging deep today, coming through the pack. You know, he talked about it. Mad. You know, I was having a meltdown, but the Johnny of old would have definitely lost his cool, made those mistakes, maybe not been able to do what he did today. Yes, he would have had 2 more opportunities, but taking that pressure off, getting it done early. You know, overcoming adversity and disappointment. You know, we'd be remiss not to mention Stu Baylor's issue. He's fought, you know, so hard this year and in recent years, saying, hey, I really want this championship. And today, an unfortunate, you know, issue with The Rock taking out the case there, taking him essentially out of the championship hunt. And and so many things happening today, so many storylines.
We've got ourselves, my takeaway, obviously, Johnny Girard, congratulations to him on the championship. I think we might have ourselves a little bit of a dark horse brewing here with Liam Draper and 2 podiums in a row. He's led this race a couple of weeks ago. That bike seems to be a perfect fit. The Blue Crew, making them happy out there, just seems to be a perfect fit for Liam Draper.
Yeah, we talked about it earlier in the show. His mechanic, Derek, saying that, you know, he seems to just ride the 450 so much better. From the moment he got on it, he was just super comfortable, less effort to ride, says it just works for him. The bike's virtually stock. They've made very few changes. So he's very happy and said he's really, really looking forward to 2025.
Scary man.
And when you say that, you only take a part of that to heart until he comes out in his first 2 races in XC1. You know, he's a combined, maybe 40 seconds away from 2 wins. So great backup of a great debut 2 weeks ago for Liam Draper. A shout out to Mike Witkowski.
Absolutely.
4th place in XC1, 5th place overall. But man, right there for a podium all the way up until about a mile to go.
That's it. Yes, so heartbreaker for him, but nonetheless a great day of racing. We crowned an XC1 champion here today. That is going to wrap things up for us. Don't forget to tune in a couple of weeks. We'll be at the John Patton GNCC, a little closer to your neck of the woods, Johnny, or at least the part-time home. You're basically a Florida guy now, let's be real. And then, of course, we've got Ironman coming up in October. And don't forget, we've got those GNCC highlight episodes coming out every Wednesday night at 7 p.m. Eastern. But that is going to wrap things up for us here today. On behalf of Jackson Burrell, Zach Heron, Johnny Gallagher, our camera operators, JC, Matt, Josh, Mike, Leah, Kirsten, Jack, and Cameron, our drone pilot, Gabe Scholl, manager, Dan Reinhart, engineer in charge, Jordan McFadden, our director, the Don Hampton, producer, Adam Gordon, what is it? OPAG? Yes, there we go. Got it. Executive producer, Carrie Jo Russell. I'm Mikey Waynes, and we'll see you at the races.